Hi, this is Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson.
What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Leinart, 2004 Heisman Trophy winner.
Hey, I'm Zane Gonzalez.
Hi, I'm Matt Barry from ESPN. You're getting ready to watch one of the best college football podcasts ever. It's the Harris Highlight Show.
You're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you're watching the Harris Highlight Show.
And you're listening to the Harris Highlight Show. Enjoy it.
With the first pick in the NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Coming to you live from the Chateau in beautiful Monrovia, California. This is a very, very special, fun edition of the Harris Highlight Show. Joining me this week is our college football, let's scratch that. Our college football draft analyst, Josh Schaefer, our college football draft expert, Lyle Goldstein, our executive producer, Brady Clayton, is going to be joining us in 10 or 15 minutes or so. I'm your host for the evening, Blake Harris. Gentlemen, it's the draft night. How are we feeling out there? All right, we're all rocking this beautiful NFL draft shirt. And no, we're not going to be running 40s. We might be drinking 40s, but we're not going to be running 40s.
Doing well. I'm really just so interested to see who the Jaguars decide to pick at number one. Is it going to be Kellen Mond? Maybe. Is it going to be Davis Mills? Maybe. I'm not sure. It's going to be one of those two guys probably. I've got the dog with me. I told her that she could come in here if she was going to be good. She's a huge Browns fan. So, yep, there she is. So, yep, she's a Browns fan. So we'll see what we get here today.
My sources are telling me that the Jacksonville Jaguars will be taking Najee Harris with the number one pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. No, but in all seriousness, this is maybe the most excited I've been for a show, just because it's a long form show, and I mean it's kind of different than any other type of show we've ever done because we're actually giving live reactions to the draft, and we haven't been able to do a draft show in the past.
Yeah, so for those of you that are just tuning in, essentially, we've been kind of pitching this for the last few weeks, but we're going to give you a quick rundown on what to expect tonight. So essentially, we're going to be doing this live stream however long the night takes us. We could do the entire first round, half the first round, pretty much however long you guys want to be tuning in. We'll keep it here. So pretty much for the next hour leading up to the NFL draft, because it starts at 5, but the real draft starts at probably 5:20, 5:25 once the 49ers pick. Over the next hour, we're going to have a few guests on talking about the NFL draft. We're going to be talking about the latest news, the latest rumors. I just got notifications saying that the Saints could potentially trade into the top 10 because they want to take Mac Jones. So apparently now the Saints are eyeing Mac Jones. I guess so the 49ers don't take him. We're going to be talking about the latest news in regards to Aaron Rodgers, reportedly wanting to maybe pursue Jeopardy full time and get himself out of Green Bay. What the Packers should do, what teams should do leading up to the draft tonight. There's going to be trivia coming up as well in about 15 to 20 minutes once Brady joins. So if you want to participate in some NFL draft trivia, I got about 10 questions. These guys are going to be competing with each other. We want you guys to compete in the live chat as well. It's going to be a fun time once the draft hits. We're going to be pouring shots. I got the Tito's ready. We're going to be drinking. might have a fun drinking game, something like where if someone donates in the super chat, I'll take a shot, or every incorrect pick I make, I'll take a shot. The goal is to get the host Harris Highlights absolutely obliterated tonight. So we'll see if we can do that coming up later in the show. So if you want to crack open a cold one, pour yourself a shot. We're going to be drinking tonight. We're going to be having a good time. And also later in the show, once different teams are picking, we want this to be as interactive as possible. We want all of you guys watching to potentially join the show. So whoever your favorite team is, unless, you're the fan of the Texans, the Seahawks, the Rams, you don't have a pick tonight, well, sorry. But if your favorite team's on the clock tonight, you want to hop on the show, talk about the pick, give your thoughts, whether it was a good pick, whether it was a bad pick, hit me up on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. Let me know what team you're a fan of. I'll see if there's any room because, again, we want to get as many fans on the show as possible. We already have a good amount lined up to talk about their favorite team. Again, it's going to be very quick, a minute or two, but it'd be fun to hear fans' thoughts on the picks because, I might think Kyle Pitts to the Falcons is a great pick, but our buddy Koster, who's going to be joining on, who's a Falcons fan, he might not be a fan of the picks. So it's going to be interesting to see how fans react to certain picks. So again, if you're a fan of a certain team, you want to hop on the show and talk about the pick, hit me up on Twitter at Blake H. Harris, or hit us up in the super chat. You guys can donate to the super chat and we will get you on the show as well. So guys, while we wait for our executive producer Brady, or I think Lyle has something he wants to add as well.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to what you said. Guys, send us your questions. I mean, we're going to be on for a long time, longer than we usually are, and we're going to have a lot of time to kill. So especially as the draft's going on, send us your questions in the chat, on Twitter. We're going to read them all out.
Yeah, and we've also got 2 more guests coming on too. We're going to have a draft expert. We're going to have more of an SEC guy coming on too, who's a reporter down south. So when we get those 2 guests on the show, obviously we'll let you guys know when they're about to hop on. But we've got 2 experts coming onto the show. So when they're in the room talking with us for 5-10 minutes, if you have questions for them, ask those questions in the chat too. So make sure you get those in so we can ask them.
Yeah, just through the graphic down at the bottom. So yeah, the entire show, that's the thing as well. Ask as many questions as you guys like. We want to be answering as many as possible. Again, you guys can donate to the super chat. That way it guarantees your question on the screen. Like I said, if you donate to the super chat, that guarantees one shot for me to be taken later in the show. So the more money you donate, the more drunk I'm going to get. And the more likely I'm not going to make it through pick number 32. Guys, before we get to the latest news, we actually already have a super chat from our man Connor, who's actually going to be coming on the show later to talk about his Baltimore Ravens and what he wants them to do with their 2 picks. With the 3rd pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers draft. Who? Guys, I think that's a perfect transition. Actually, do you guys want to start with the Aaron Rodgers news, or do you guys want to start with just the latest NFL Draft rumors and news?
I feel like that's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, let's start with a little discount double check.
All right, let's start with the discount double check, guys. So Aaron Rodgers, to no surprise, he's fed up with the Packers. We saw it last year when they drafted Jordan Love in the 1st round, when they traded up to get Jordan Love, and pretty much how they handled the season last year. I don't know if you guys watched Jeopardy. I'm sure Lyle did, but when Aaron Rodgers was hosting on his first episode, the guy in Final Jeopardy pretty much said, "Why did you guys kick in Aaron Rodgers?" You could tell he wanted to say, "Dude, I have no effing clue why," because we're a bunch of morons. But guys, Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he's officially requested a trade, but essentially he's come out and said, "I don't want to play for you guys." I guess he has a list of teams he'd be interested in going in. I believe it was the 49ers, the Raiders, and was it the Dolphins? Was that the other team? I can't remember who the 3rd team was.
It's the Niners, the Broncos, and the Raiders.
That's right. The Niners, the Broncos, the Raiders. So, guys, I guess the question is, we have an hour till the draft kicks off. My guess is that it's not enough time for the Packers to trade Aaron Rodgers. But if you're sitting in Green Bay's position and your star, your franchise, your MVP winning quarterback comes out and he says, "I refuse to play. I want to be traded." What do you do? Because you obviously have a quarterback in the waiting room in Jordan Love you took last year. You could get a haul of draft picks for Aaron Rodgers. What do you do? Do you risk trying to fix this relationship, go into the summer, and end up not being able to resolve it? Now you have to trade him. You don't get any capital. Or do you just, again, accept your fate, say this isn't going to be fixed? Let's try to trade him tonight, load up on 2 first-rounders or so, maybe 1 first-rounder and a bunch of picks. I guess what should they do? Again, the draft's in an hour, so not exactly certain how close they are to even potentially trading him at this point.
So I just want to clarify. He did not actually say that I refuse to play this season, did he?
It wasn't a Brian Drew where he went up to Sonny Weaver and said to his face, "Trade me." I think it's just I want.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's more on the side of I'm not going to play. I mean, at least in Schefter's tweet, he claims that he's told people, I will not play another game in Green Bay. So we'll see. In other words, this feels more significant than the passive-aggressive approach that Russell Wilson took, where it's like, well, it's a Seattle question if you want to trade me, or, well, if I were to be traded, here's 4 teams. Like, Rodgers sounds more like he's making demands, at least to me.
See, but it might seem that way too, but there's also the possibility that this is leverage too, and I've seen some people throw that out there because his current contract runs through 23 or 24, I believe. Yeah. But he's done with it. Like this is the last year of guaranteed money, or last year was the last year of guaranteed money, I believe. So I think this is an opportunity for him to try to get something out of this. And if it's not, if he is saying, I don't want to play here anymore, trade me, right? He really puts the Packers in a tough situation, but maybe him too, because think about it. If you're saying trade me, I want to be traded right now, the Packers are going to be more inclined to trade him today than in the summer, because like Blake said, they're going to get more capital if they deal him today. Again, the draft is now in 45 minutes, so I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if it does, it does, and we'll be here to talk about it when it happens. But if it happens today, the bright side is the Packers are they're likely to get a draft pick that is almost going to secure a quarterback for them somewhere, right? If they don't make this trade today and Rodgers is still a Packer by tomorrow, and then they try to trade him in the summer, which again is totally possible. They could totally do that. They could still get a big haul for Aaron Rodgers if they trade him in the summer. The issue is they're not going to have a solid starting quarterback next year, and that's no disrespect to Jordan Love. Dude's just not ready to be a starting quarterback. Where if you trade him today, you get a pick for a guy that's going to be your starting quarterback next year.
The funny thing is, the 49ers, where I saw the text in our chat where Aaron Rodgers gets to the 49ers, then immediately retires and says, this is your punishment for not drafting me all those years ago. The 49ers, ironically, put themselves in a more difficult position, in a worse position, by trading up in the NFL draft, because they parted with 2 future first-round picks. If the Niners still have those first-round picks, I think this is a trade that immediately would have happened already, because if you're the Packers, you trade with the 49ers. I don't think the number 3 overall pick is enough. The 49ers essentially have no more draft capital because they used it to move up to number 3. Had they not done that, had they stuck into number 12, if you're the Packers, you could have gotten the number 12 pick. You could have gotten next year's first-round pick, maybe some extra picks out of that, and then you could have traded that number 12 pick for even additional picks. So the Packers, they could have loaded up on a bunch of draft picks. Again, had the Niners not done this, I just think it's overall interesting because obviously there's been a lot of conflict all offseason. Again, it's stemming from the contract negotiations, Aaron Rodgers just being unhappy with everything that's going on there. But the fact that this breaks on draft day, I just thought it was interesting because now, it puts you in a tough position. Like Josh said, obviously you can make a trade this summer, but then you're doing it for draft picks next year when you can be getting them for draft picks, this weekend. So overall, I am going to be shocked if Aaron Rodgers is a Packer somehow to start next season. He clearly wants out, and it's just going to be interesting to see how quickly they can make a move done, because if I'm the 49ers, I don't care about the future of Mac Jones or Trey Lance. If I can get Aaron Rodgers, I mean, I'm sure you guys are probably scared as Seahawks and Rams fans. If Aaron Rodgers went to this 49ers team, I think you can make the case maybe with like the Chiefs. I think they'd be the best team in the NFL. So if I'm one of these teams, and I said this with the Saints also, if I'm the Saints, I'm offering everything I can, getting Aaron Rodgers on this team with the way the Saints are built now, because I get Aaron Rodgers is old. He has a big contract, but this is a guy where if you add him to your team, kind of like what the Bucs did with Tom Brady going all in, you're going to be competing for Super Bowls for the next 2 to 3 years, however many years he has left in the tank. So it'll be interesting to see, again, especially the fact that this news broke on draft day to make the draft a little more exciting.
You know what I'm going to say if he goes to the Niners, right? I hate the NFC West.
You can say it now. I agree.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so before we move on, here's Trey Wingo's tweet just for reference. The Packers reportedly told Aaron Rodgers they were going to trade him in the offseason, then backed off. It's a bleep show, he puts it, between them ever since. And within the last week, Rodgers told the team, trade or no trade, I'm not coming back. Buckle up, folks. So we'll see. This is why this feels more serious than the passive-aggressive Russell Wilson drama we saw early in the offseason. But like Josh said, I think there's a point here that Rodgers may be using this as leverage, and secretly in-house, he may be saying, trade me or trade Jordan Love. And we may see at some point by the end of the weekend that a team that misses out on one of these 5 quarterbacks we'll see drafted tonight may try and trade for Jordan Love. So that could be it too.
What a move by Aaron Rodgers if it works, where he wanted to be there all along, but he did this just to get rid of Jordan Love, who I want to know what their friendship's like. I mean, Jordan Love might be the nicest guy, but Aaron Rodgers probably Jordan Love did nothing to him, but Aaron Rodgers has to hate that guy. Poor Jordan Love. All right, guys, let's move on to the latest rumors and the latest news, because we're going to be having our first guest joining the show in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to go to some super chats. Again, you guys can donate to the show, help support the show. And later in the show, I'm not going to be doing it now because the Tito's is currently in the freezer, getting nice and cool. But for every super chat donation, I'll be taking. Okay, now we're going to have to draw the line somewhere, because I don't want a bunch of people doing $1 super chat donations, and I'm going to be getting absolutely blacked. I think we might have to put a little limit on that, because I can only take.
No.
Everyone just teams up and is doing 99-cent shots. We'll have to wait and see. All right, so our first question comes from our man Connor. Question: what is the biggest boondoggle that each of your team has ever done? Well, I mean, I don't have the entire Saints draft history on the back end of my mind, but obviously you can talk about the Ricky Williams trade, which, by the way, guys, everyone assumes that Ricky Williams trade with the Saints was so bad. I went back and I looked at it the other day. Aside from like the extra first rounder they got, it was like a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder. That means nothing in a draft. So I know people talk about a heist. It wasn't that bad of a trade. If I can get a top tier talent, I don't mind trading my 4th or 6th or 7th round pick. But
didn't the Saints just do that last year for Adam Troutman? They traded like the rest of their draft. I mean, which is whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you don't see any value.
Later in the draft, they did. Yeah, they did. But I actually mentioned this on the last show, and just the Marcus Davenport one from a few years back when they traded. I don't remember what pick they were at, but I didn't want to say middle 20s when they went from like 25, 26 up to 14 to take Davenport, when I thought it was going to be Lamar Jackson. And Davenport, who just had his 5th-year option picked up today, has just not been worthy of the number 14 pick. So that's my vote for the biggest boondoggle that the Saints have made, in my opinion.
So the Rams have a few. I think Sam Bradford's is a pretty bad one, as just a obviously a super high pick that just never worked out. Who's another one? Like OG LA Rams. But like Lawrence Phillips was one that never panned out. That one's disappointing. And I gotta be honest, like recency bias, not just Jared Goff, but the entire Jared Goff saga is horrific. Like everyone talks about Mitch Trubisky, right? I think the whole Jared Goff saga is arguably worse, considering he's not on that team anymore. The fact that they gave up all these picks just to get up to number 1, drafted him number 1. He didn't really, I mean, yeah, they won the NFC in that, in 2017, 2018, whatever it was. And they went to the Super Bowl and got embarrassed by the Patriots in 2018. And then obviously since then he's been horrible, and tons of fumbles, tons of interceptions. And then not only did they trade all these picks to get to number 1, they trade Goff and then all these other picks just to get rid of him. So I think that's a pretty bad one that should be talked about more often.
I don't even have to think for what mine is. And you guys think I'm going to say Rashad Penny? I'm not.
No, I had a feeling you would. I think I know where you're going.
Here, I'll let you guess first.
No, I want to see.
Okay. In 2013.
Okay, it's not.
The Seattle Seahawks had, I believe, the 64th pick in the draft. They were just coming off winning the Super Bowl. They take Christine Michael, a running back. Keep in mind, they have Marshawn Lynch. They take Kristen Michael, a running back out of Texas A&M, and they had a need for tight ends because they took Luke Wilson later that draft. Okay, wait. It was either 2012 or 2013. I'm pretty sure it was 2013. But they took Luke Wilson in the 5th round after taking Kristen Michael with this pick. I kid you not. The very next pick, 63, some guy named Travis Kelce. Has anybody on this show ever heard of him? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah.
I think he's the brother of the guy in the Eagles, right?
Exactly. That guy. Okay. That guy. So when the Seahawks had a need at tight end, they decided to take a running back to back up prime Marshawn Lynch and pass on Travis Kelce. That one hurts.
That's
Didn't the Mariners draft Brendan Morrow over Clayton Kershaw?
They sure did.
They did. Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, and Tim Lincecum. They sure did.
Poor. Poor Lyle. So, Connor, that was a good one. I like the word boondoggle. I've never heard that one before. Guys, we got another super chat donation from Wicked Bronco. Again, if you guys have any questions, any hot takes, anything you would like to hear our thoughts on, you guys can donate to the super chat. Could be, $5, $10, $100,000. Again, up to whatever your budget is tonight. We accept all sorts of donations. Broncos are in the best position possible right now. We could get Rodgers, stay pack at 9 and take Fields, or BPA, or trade Lock to move up to draft a quarterback. Thoughts? Also, Pro Football Focus has Denver as a top 10 or top 6 roster. Well, they did just acquire Teddy Bridgewater for essentially nothing. So they got Bridgewater, they got Drew Lock. There is still a chance that they can trade or take a quarterback at 9. I don't think they'll trade for Rodgers. I just can't see Aaron Rodgers wanting to go to Denver, although I think they have a solid team. Yeah, it just depends on how the draft board falls. I think the Broncos are in a good position now by adding Bridgewater. They don't need to worry about trading up or overreaching. If a quarterback somehow falls to them at 9, I think the Broncos take a quarterback, but I don't think that the Broncos now are going to trade up to get a quarterback.
I think that's fair. I think they're absolutely still in the mix for a quarterback, just because I don't think Bridgewater is the long-term answer. The Broncos are one of Rodgers' 3 teams. I can't. Yeah. I can't tell you why, but they are. And like Wicked Bronco says, I mean, they do have a lot of talent around. They have one of the best rosters in the league. But yeah, I don't think they trade up. I think if there's one of the quarterbacks sitting at 9, they'll probably take him.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see. But guys, all right, before we get our guest on, let's again talk about the latest NFL draft rumors. As we mentioned at the top of the show and as Lyle brought up, currently Vegas odds. Now, Vegas odds, you could read into them as much as you like. You could not do that. But if you were to be a betting man, which, the 3 of us, none of us are as of today, Trey Lance is currently the favorite to go to the 49ers at number 3. Now, I don't have what the odds are. He's not like a Trevor Lawrence minus 50,000 to the Jags, where essentially you got to bet 50 grand just to win $100. Not a huge favorite, but a still favorite in regards to that aspect. Guys, how much are you reading into that? How much are you reading into the fact that Trey Lance is now the favorite? Whereas, again, there's been conflicting reports over the last few weeks that now they've narrowed it down to Mac Jones and Trey Lance. We've talked about this on the show that Mac Jones fits the system more in San Francisco. It would make more sense. But the thing that is interesting is the fact that there's a bunch of Jimmy Garoppolo trade talk. If the 49ers were to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, you would think if that's the case, then they would be taking Mac Jones, since he seems more NFL ready than Trey Lance. But again, we're going to find out an hour from now. But I know I asked for you guys' final pick on the last show, but I'm going to do it again. What is your final pick, your final take? What do you think about the number 3 pick and Trey Lance being the favorite to go to the Niners?
I just don't really know where to begin. It's just a new thing every week. I don't even know what to think. And this happens all the time with the NFL draft. That's just kind of how it goes. But I don't know. There's no disrespect to Trey Lance. I obviously had him falling down my board quite a bit all the way to Washington. But look, I'm going to believe it when I see it, just because a couple days ago it seemed like it was for sure going to be Mac Jones. And then a while back it seemed like that's where Fields was going to be. And then I just don't know. So I could see it happening. I don't have a definitive answer. So I really don't even know what to lock in. So I'll stick with my draft and say Fields. That's the eye test that I've seen. And side note, before we get to Lyle, I will call myself out. The whole thing with Justin Fields at Georgia that we've talked about on the show 100 times was, we're not at practice. So what do we really know? Because we're not the ones seeing it. I'll say it here. I'm not there. Hello, Brady. I'm not there. But given what I've seen, Fields is incredible, and Fields is worthy of being a top 3 pick. So I don't know. I really wouldn't be shocked either way.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. All right, cool. What's up, boys? How we doing? Sorry about that.
Welcome. It's our executive producer, Brady Klein.
Hey,
with the best lighting of all of us.
Yes.
Lighting, microphone, just chilling.
Whoa, I got the same microphone as you.
Yeah, but I'm holding mine, and I look cool because I'm sitting on a couch and I can sit back like this and watch the draft like Cliff Kingsbury.
You look like a lazy stand-up comedian.
I've been called many things, Josh, and that is spot on.
All right, Lyle, let's hear your 2 cents.
After your conversation, gentlemen.
I believe in the end, it's still going to be Jones. I mean, it's basically just a guess at this point, because I saw a report today that the only 2 people in the Niners building who actually know who they're taking are Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. And maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. Maybe they're taking Mac Jones. Maybe they're taking Trey Lance. My final guess is going to be Jones because that's what most of the reports have been. But like Josh said, we really don't know. I mean, it is a smokescreen that they put up at pick number 3.
Well, the good thing is, again, in a few minutes, we're going to be bringing someone on the show in regards to someone that, covers Alabama football, someone that's, in the news with Alabama. So he has a good understanding of Mac Jones and all that kind of stuff. But guys, wouldn't that be something if because I mentioned the reports at the beginning of the show that the Saints are interested pretty much to trade into the top 10. It looks like either for if Mac Jones is still slipping, if he's fallen to get him, or I guess a cornerback. So, Mac Jones potentially going to the Saints. Things are going to be a lot of fun there. Guys, any other rumors, latest notes that you briefly want to touch up on or that you've heard of as of today, as of recent hours that have gone by?
Well, we can talk about this with one of our guests who comes on later because I know we never got to it on Tuesday, but there seems to be more and more reports that Ja'Marr Chase is going at 5 to the Bengals. And I'm sure that makes Joe Burrow jump out of his seat, and I'm sure it makes him a happy camper. But that just feels, and I was talking to our guest that's going to come on in a bit, and his words, I think he said it perfectly. That just feels irresponsible for a team that gave that. I mean, for a guy that had no protection, not only tore his ACL, but tore his ACL, MCL, and had further knee damage. How on earth could you not be drafting an offensive tackle for him? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking up on FanDuel right now because I wanted to get what the latest odds were in regards to everything. So as of right now, Trey Lance is a -200, Mac Jones is a +160. So nothing too crazy. Kyle Pitts is currently a -390 to go number 4 overall. So that's definitely a heavy favorite, something to keep an eye on. But yeah, Lyle, like you mentioned, the fact that, again, Ja'Marr Chase, that's like the worst part about this, where lost in all of it is adding Ja'Marr Chase to the Bengals to go along with that offense they put together is fantastic. But like Burrow literally got hurt last year because of his offensive line. The dude was just getting mauled left and right like crazy, and you have a chance to add a generational talent in Penei Sewell. Again, anything can happen. We'll have to wait and see. Guys, a few more minutes before I wait for our guest to come on. Wicked Bronco again with the Super Chat. Best draft prospect names. Now, I saw an article on this literally, I think, yesterday. I should have saved it for this question because they were going over the best names in this upcoming draft. Any names that stand out at the top of your head? Because obviously this is a tough one where you'd have to look it up because I don't have all 300 prospects in the back of my mind. Any name that potentially sticks out to you guys?
How about McCorkle Jones?
Oh, yes. Did you guys see my text the other day? Because it, when left on red, no one replied. But Mac Jones's name isn't actually Mac Jones.
McCorkle.
Yeah.
I personally, just off the top of my head, I think Amon-Ra St. Brown is cool. I think all the St. Browns are cool. Osiris, Equanimous, they're all cool. All of them.
By the way, his name is Michael McCorkle. So his first name is Michael.
I think McCorkle. No, McCorkle's cooler. McCorkle Brown. That's too cool. Or McCorkle, Jones. I don't want to think in Brown. Guys, Connor says supposedly the Raiders, Browns, and Ravens are seriously thinking of moving up. Thoughts? The Raiders one's interesting because I know they've been linked to potential quarterbacks. Browns and Ravens. I mean, we know the Ravens need a receiver. We know the Browns need, a defensive end or an edge or something like that. So not exactly certain who they'd be moving up for. But then it's the draft. I mean, people move up 1 or 2 spots all the time. So who knows? I hope there's a bunch of trades tonight. Trades make everything that much better. Trades make it more exciting. Even if it's a team trading from 29 to 24, it makes my life that much better. Right? I mean, we need the Rams or the Seahawks to trade up. That's what we need. We need one of your guys' teams to make this interesting. So we're going to be getting one of our guests right now to hop on. Again, he's familiar with Alabama football. I think Auburn as well, Josh, or is it mainly just Alabama?
Yeah, in the state of Alabama.
In the state of Alabama. So if there's any colleges out there in the state of Alabama, you can ask him questions. We'll have him on for 5 to 10 minutes or so, something like that. Again, ask any questions you guys want. But in regards to this, I think I'm going to throw it to our man Josh right here because, well, apparently I'm the only person who's never actually interacted with him. So I guess we're not officially friends. So Josh, I'll throw it over to you to get the ball rolling.
So, welcome to the show, Drew Carter. He's a sports reporter from CBS 42 in Birmingham, Alabama. Great friend. You can follow him on Twitter at Droodle25. Drew, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Hey guys, first of all, I have to amend that statement. I wouldn't say great friends, Josh. I wouldn't say
wow. That's great. See, so many people have told us that
we're better friends, Drew, than you and Josh are. You and I are better friends, right?
Yeah, well, Brady is my guy. We hit it off at the IndyCar race here in Alabama. I mean, that was special stuff right there. This guy, also Brady, I found you on Twitter. I didn't realize you won every award for photojournalism when you were at ASU. So congrats.
He claims. So he claims.
Hey, there was one that he didn't win.
No, I won it a year later. So.
All right.
Yeah, guys, you're gonna have to bear with me here. I'm on my laptop, which is a piece of pure garbage. I've had it since high school, so hopefully the technology works okay. But pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Drew, you spent a lot of time down there in SEC country over the last 2 years, and you've seen your fair share of Auburn, and then of course Alabama. Is there a specific draft eligible SEC player that has impressed you the most over the past couple of years down in Alabama?
Well, yeah. I mean, I hate to be chalk pick here, but Devontae Smith is the most dominant college player I think I've ever seen. Watching what he did his senior season, I mean, all you have to do is think about the fact that he won the Heisman as a receiver. It's like, who does that? No one has done that in 30 years. And the only way you can do that is by being utterly dominant. We were lucky enough to be in Miami for the national championship. And it was honestly comical watching what he was doing to Ohio State. He had 200 plus yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. And then if he had never dislocated his finger, he would have broken every single record for the championship, which he might have done even with outplaying in the second half. So I don't know, man. I think Devontae Smith is the guy. I look back at his entire career. You think about when he was introduced to the national stage is when he caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship, 2nd and 26, which is like a legendary play down here. And then he ends it by winning the Heisman as a senior, as a wide receiver, which nobody does. So I think Smith is the answer. I know it's boring, but he's got to be the guy.
So I think that might answer my next question already. But in terms of being a pro prospect, you like Jalen Waddle or you like Devontae Smith?
I like Smitty a little more, again, just because I'm biased. I mean, it's hard not to when you watch the guy every Saturday. I like Smith a little bit better. I'm so tired of the weight thing, guys. I mean, holy cow. He played in the SEC. I mean, what are we doing here? Half those guys are going to play in the league anyway. And he's toasting everyone. He murdered Notre Dame. He murdered Ohio State in the playoff. This is like half NFL rosters regardless. And I don't know, it's just he does things that are just different. It's a little like Lamar Jackson, right? Like Lamar Jackson, he's too skinny to succeed as a quarterback in the NFL. Well, he never takes a big hit. And with Smith, it's the same kind of thing. He was never really injured in college aside from when it was a fluky thing like the finger in the championship. I don't really think it's a huge concern. And if you can get past the weight thing, then you see the most productive college wide receiver of all time playing in the best conference in the country. And so I think he's the guy, again, biased, but I would take him over Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is everyone's pretty boy. Oh, we love Jamar Chase. How about you play a game in 2020? How about we see the guy play a game in the past 2 years? I mean, what a baby opting out of the season. It was not because of the pandemic. Give me a break. He opted out because he's a baby and because he knew that without Brady and without Burrow, his numbers wouldn't have been as good. He opted out. He's a baby. I take Smith over him any day of the week.
Well, I wasn't expecting to be taking immediate shots at other wide receivers, but I absolutely love it. But I'm just going to add, I think Brady has an idea or two about wide receivers that are undersized, having successful careers in the NFL, considering Marvin Harrison, when he came in, was literally the size of a twig. So obviously it could happen. Drew, I want to ask you a question. By the way, how's it going? I'm Blake. We've never officially met. Hopefully we are best friends now, and Josh is going to be at the bottom of the totem pole. I just want to hear your thoughts on just the progression of Mac Jones. I mean, this was a guy last year, I think on record, I went pretty much said, I think Bryce Young makes more starts in 2020 than Mac Jones does. I think we were all kind of in agreement on that. And it turns out Mac Jones ended up having one of the best seasons kind of in the last decade in regards to college football quarterbacks. Now he has a chance to be the number 3 overall pick. And this is a guy that sat behind Tua, that sat behind, Jalen Hurts. What are just overall your thoughts on just how he went from being the third stringer to becoming the starting quarterback, having the season he did, and now potentially being a starting NFL quarterback this upcoming year?
Well, Blake, first of all, I was right there with you coming into the season. I thought Young was going to start the majority of the year as well. And I mean, as you can tell, I love dropping hot takes without any real background, just dropping takes and pissing people off. And so I was like, screw it. Yeah, exactly. I was like, screw it. I'll just say it. I think Bryce Young is going to start this year because we had seen it before. Jalen Hurts started at Alabama as a freshman and was the SEC Offensive Player of the Year. And Bryce Young was the #1 recruit in America. So it sort of seemed like Mac was yet again screwed out of a starting position because he was no slouch coming out of high school either. I mean, he grew up in Jacksonville. He was a 4-star guy, could have gone anywhere he wanted. He was actually committed to Kentucky verbally and then got out of that and came to Alabama. It's really just a cool story, and I think it's kind of an old-fashioned story in college football that you don't see that often anymore, especially with the new transfer rules where you can go to a new school and not have to sit out a year. People lament, especially like old people will lament how much college football has turned into free agency. And I think the complaining about that is way overblown. Like, go where you want. It's college. You should be happy. You should go where you can play. But there is something really special about a guy like Mac Jones who stayed, who learned, who waited, and it all paid off for him. It's really, I think it's inspiring, honestly, for a guy, to just not be the dude from the moment he walked in and say, I think I'm going to do it eventually. I believe in myself enough. And he did it. And like you said, Blake, it was one of statistically the best seasons ever for a quarterback. And let's continue the LSU slander. He was better than Joe Burrow. I hate to say it, but he was. He was. If you look at efficiency numbers and consider that he played an all SEC schedule, he had a better season than Joe Burrow. They also went undefeated. Joe Burrow had some pretty good weapons too because Jamar Chase is the pretty boy, like I said. Justin Jefferson, the best rookie wide receiver of all time for my Minnesota Vikings. Like, if you look at all the variables here, I think you can argue Mac Jones had the greatest statistical season ever for any quarterback at any school. And it's all after he waited for a couple of years. It was really cool to see.
So building off that, what would you say to people that when they're talking about Mac Jones on Sundays, they say, well, he's got a high floor, but he seems like Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0, hypothetically, like if the Niners were to take him at 3?
Well, I think that is such a funny paradox because you have your group of people who say Mac Jones' ceiling isn't high. But then you also have your group of people who say you can't win a Super Bowl with a mobile quarterback or you can't last in the NFL if you're a mobile quarterback. So, like, which is it? Tom Brady has won 7 Super Bowls, and I'm faster. Literally, I'm faster than Tom Brady. I think I could beat him in a race. So, obviously, Tom Brady is an outlier, but a lot of the most successful quarterbacks of this generation even have been guys who really aren't that mobile. And Mac Jones, I think, is a little more athletic than he gets credit for, aside from when he tries to slide. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but it looked like he was going to pop every bone in his leg when he tried to slide in the playoff. But aside from that, I think he is a little more mobile than we think. If you watch Alabama's offense, they did roll him out a decent amount, and he looked fine. And he can throw on the run. The way he climbs in the pocket is very impressive. I think his ceiling is pretty high just because look at how much he's improved at Alabama. I think there's still room for even more improvement.
Drew, real quick before we let you go, who are the Vikings taking?
How dare you cut off my friend Brady like that, Josh? How dare you?
Fine, go ahead, Brady. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you about an Alabama guy or whatever. I'm sitting here watching the draft on TV behind my computer, and I see all these guys dapper. Drew, if you were invited and you were a prospect, what would be your go-to outfit if you were going to be drafted? This is like a classic blue suit kind of guy, or are you going crazy with it?
This is the kind of question I come on this show for. Not the garbage that Schaefer was going to throw at me. This is what I want to hear. I think, Brady, try this one on for size. How about a full decked out IndyCar fire suit?
Yes. Yes, I love it.
Right? Helmet and everything. Like no need for a mask. Wearing a helmet. All good. Flip the visor. Talk to Laura Rutledge a little bit. Wink at her. Yeah.
Drew, who are the Vikings taking?
Who cares, Josh? We're a joke. Although, I mean, if Rodgers is leaving the division, then maybe we have a shot to win it. If you look at the quarterbacks in the NFC North potentially, all right, you've got Jordan Love. If Rodgers leaves, you've got Jared Goff. You've got Andy Dalton.
God.
You guys are in a good spot.
You're times 3. So, say what you want about Kirk Cousins, but he's good enough to win that division. So I think we're probably going to go lineman. I think we're going to keep it boring this year, but that's okay. As long as we go best player available, that's what we normally do. The Vikings actually draft well, really well, especially last year with Jefferson. So I'm excited to see who they take. I believe in Spielman.
I think a few of us had Elijah Vera Tucker from SC in our mock, so maybe we'll get to see one of those. Drew Carter, sports reporter from CBS 42 in Birmingham. You're the worst. I hate talking with you. If you guys want to know why there are so many really bad takes, it's because he went to Syracuse.
Yeah.
Drew, thanks again. You guys should look him up on Twitter. He's got a great Twitter account too. Thanks, Drew.
Thanks for having me, guys. As long as the Vikings don't take someone from Arizona State, I am perfectly fine.
I don't think
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
I like it. So yeah, that was Drew Carter. Again, the best part is whenever you got someone talking about like the Blue Bloods, like Alabama or anything like that, you get the people in the comments who absolutely don't agree with them. So obviously all the people that aren't huge Alabama lovers, you could see they were getting just offended by his Alabama takes and whatnot. But hey, Mac Jones had the best passing percentage in college football history, and he was on pace to have some pretty good numbers on a full season. Guys, Jonathan wants to know, I've seen him going in 15 to 20, but what do you guys think are the chances Ian Book sneaks into the top 5?
Top 5 of the 3rd round, I think, is likely, maybe 4th round.
The Niners like the winner that is Ian Book, and they've been smoke screening us this entire time. They're taking Ian Book at 3. That's their quarterback of the future right there. The guy who can just win games.
All right, so that was Drew Carter. Let me take this graphic off the screen right now. Joining us in a few minutes will be a NFL draft expert, not us, another one from Arizona State. It turns out we're not the only 4 NFL draft experts that go to Arizona State, so that'll be coming momentarily. And once that interview is done, guys, we're going to be whipping out the NFL draft trivia for you guys because, again, we know who the Jaguars are taking. I assume that they're going to pull a total boner move, and they're going to take all 10 minutes of the first of their first pick. So the clock's
what?
Go. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, dog. So while the Jaguars are on the clock and there's literally no suspense for the number 1 overall pick, we'll be doing some NFL draft trivia. So if you guys are in the live chat right now and you guys want to stay tuned for the NFL draft trivia, that's going to be coming in about 10 minutes or so, right when the NFL draft kicks off. These 3 are going to be competing to see who knows the most NFL draft history, and you guys can compete in the live chat as well. Let us know how many questions you guys get right. So again, while we wait for the our next guest to come on, guys, funny, I was scrolling through Twitter right now, and you know how when people find those old tweets and they like quote tweet them saying like, "Oh my God, no way." I just fell for one saying it was from 2016 that Adam Schefter tweeted saying Eagles trade up to 2. And immediately my heart just sunk saying, "Oh my God, wait, what just happened?" And then I saw that it took place in 2016. So I fell for the bait. I fell for the bait. Well, we got a super chat donation from our man Connor. Now, unfortunately, or Connor, I'm just used to saying Connor right here. Our man Coster. Coster, not exactly sure what happened here, but maybe you've been hitting the Tito's a little too early like I've been doing. But I appreciate your $2 donation, Coster. Looking forward to having you on the show in a bit. So, Lyle, we do have our next guest. I am going to throw it to you to introduce him because Lyle's the best when it comes to this kind of thing. So, Lyle, why don't you take it away? Welcome our newest guest. Now we officially have 5 Sun Devils on the show. I think that's I guess that's not a first, but let's just say it's an NFL draft first.
Yeah, NFL draft first. So joining the show, we've got Cole Topham, draft expert. He hosts an NFL draft podcast titled Draft Dynamite. You can follow him on Twitter at Ham Analysis. Cole, thanks for joining. Thanks for hopping on and joining us.
Yeah, what's going on, you guys? We're so close away. Like, it's been a long process, it's been a different process. So I'm glad I get to spend a few minutes with you guys and break it down.
There we go. We got a nice little graphic for him right there. How's that look? That looks beautiful right there.
Oh man, I mean, I'm in Cleveland right now.
There we go. But seriously, guys, you want to get smarter about the NFL draft or fantasy football? Go over and follow Cole on Twitter because he does a ton of breakdowns and a ton of stuff over on his Twitter account. Cole, we were talking about it a little bit earlier before you hopped on and joined, but we were talking about that 5th pick and the whole Jamar Chase versus Penei Sewell debate. I think I know where you stand, but I'll throw it to you. Who should the Bengals be taking with this 5th pick?
Man, I mean, for me, it just doesn't even seem like it should be a question. I mean, Joe Burrow, he took 72 hits in 9 games, and he was on pace to take like the most hits by a rookie quarterback in NFL history. And to me, that's like 72 reasons why an offensive lineman from this draft, whether it's Penei Sewell or Rashawn Slater, should don a Bengals hat at number 5. I get that you want to pair Joe Burrow with his playmaker from LSU from that historic season, But I think it's just irresponsible when your quarterback is coming off a pretty significant knee surgery that I think people forget. It wasn't just an ACL tear, it was an MCL tear as well, and there was further structural damage. So we don't really necessarily know where Burrow will be in terms of a recovery standpoint when the season begins. And so I think your quarterback's been getting hit. He's coming off that knee surgery. You need to take an offensive lineman and have that quarterback longevity in mind if you're the Bengals.
Yeah, I will just say I'm on total, like, even if the Bengals would have had the number 1 or number 2 pick, I've been saying for months, like, Penei Sewell just seems like the obvious selection. Like I've said it multiple times, he's a generational talent. So hopefully the Bengals are smart on that. Cole, I know you watch a ton of film. So I want to ask you, out of all the film you've watched, who's a guy that had a tape that you feel is kind of under the radar? Maybe he's not as appreciated as he should be. Someone that you think should be maybe a little higher in regards to potentially mocks, in regards to rankings for the NFL draft.
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that because I'm a big defensive back guy. And so I think one guy that's been sort of climbing in the ranks lately, but maybe unknown to the more casual draft watcher, is Greg Newsome, the cornerback from Northwestern. And he easily became my favorite player in the draft, like the player I have no hesitation pounding the table for when I turned on the film. And when I turn on the film, he has it all. He probably moves the best out of the entire cornerback class. He patrols the point of the catch. He's physical without being too over the top like we've seen J.C. Horn be. But what stood out to me is that quarterbacks fear him. They didn't throw to him much his last season at Northwestern. And, I mean, Justin Fields, he hardly looked his way in the Big Ten championship, and he was locking up Garrett Wilson in that game. So he's really disciplined as well. The number one job for these boundary guys is obviously to make sure their guy is covered, but they're also trusted to not give up the big play. And there were no big plays on Newsome's film that I watched. He wasn't easily foiled by those double moves. So he's experienced. He doesn't make mistakes. And I think he very well has the possibility to become the best cornerback to come out of this draft.
Going off of that, I mean, you tweeted today about Greg Newsome and a couple of the other guys that you were rooting for in this draft. Where do you think Newsome ranks draft-wise compared to some of the other guys like Horn, you mentioned, Surtain? How early do you think Newsome goes?
I think there's a possibility that we see Greg Newsome in the top 20 for sure. I think the two other guys ahead of him on my board, which are J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain, are going to be picked by those cornerback needy teams like Dallas or like Arizona or even Philadelphia. We could see them take a cornerback as well. So I think those two will be gone. But he's cornerback 3 on my board. He's probably cornerback 3 on a lot of other teams' boards. So I could definitely see him go top 20, maybe even to Arizona.
So, Cole, we had an Alabama reporter on a little bit before you hopped on, and one question we didn't get to talk to him about was everything surrounding Jalen Waddle and what his upside could be. Because every comp that he seems to get is Tyreek Hill, which is really lofty, but everybody seems to do it. Is that a fair comp? And if it's not, who does he remind you of?
Yeah, man, it seems like we get a Tyreek Hill comp every single draft. So it was Henry Ruggs last year. It was John Ross 2 years before. And I think Waddle is probably the closest thing to Tyreek Hill out of those two players that I just mentioned, just because of that breakaway speed. He can dunk play over players. Like you saw that one touchdown against Auburn this season where he just elevated to the point of the catch for the touchdown. So I think the Tyreek Hill comps they're warranted for sure. And I think Waddle has the potential to become one of the best receivers from this draft. And I certainly have him ranked above Jamar Chase, mostly because I like his dynamicness with the ball in his hand. And also just because of the fact that he is more disciplined in press coverage. I think Chase takes way too many strikes and blows to the chest as well. And he's got that technique. He's more experienced. And I think Waddle will be a dynamic playmaker for everyone who drafts him. Not my wide receiver 1 though. I think Devontae Smith is the best wide receiver in this draft.
Cole, jump in here and ask you this really quickly. You know, Trevor Lawrence has been slated to be the number 1 pick in the draft for the last 3 or 4 years. Who is the best player overall in this draft?
The best player overall in this draft. I mean, that means we're just talking about big boards, and I probably would go with Trevor Lawrence as well, because of the fact that there's no significant flaws in his game. With Trevor Lawrence, we're just nitpicking. With Justin Fields, we could say, oh, he relies on his first read too much. With Lance, we could say, oh, his accuracy is dwindling downfield. With Mac Jones, we can say his athleticism, isn't up to par with the other quarterbacks in this class. You can't say those same things about Trevor Lawrence because he's got the arm strength, the arm talent, the mobility, that coolness under pressure, and the fact that he's risen to the caliber of play when the lights are the brightest, right? And so that's why I think Trevor Lawrence is the best player in this draft, and why he's worthy of that number one pick.
Well, Cole, we really appreciate you hopping on. We're going to bring you back on when we get a little bit of a ways into the draft, so we can talk about that number 3 pick. We can talk about that number 5 pick and everything that's gone on up to this point. Again, thanks so much for hopping on and joining us. You guys, all the listeners, you can check out his podcast, Draft Dynamite. You can go follow him on Twitter @HamAnalysis. But seriously, Cole, thanks for hopping on, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, hopefully when the Bengals draft an offensive lineman, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I must say it is often weird having Lyle or Josh, someone wrap up the guest, because it's kind of nice when I just get to sit here and hang out for the most part. All right, guys.
Yeah,
so
all the pressure's on you, right? You can't botch it.
Right. So, all right, guys. So we have time now. I say we get this trivia underway, but before we get to the trivia, we do have a few super chats I do want to read through. So again, if you guys have anything you guys would like to ask us, anything in regards to the draft, any hot takes, anything like that, hit us up in the super chat. Wicked Bronco comes in. Why do you think the Panthers and Vikings are in talks with the Broncos about Locke? Well, you mean backup quarterbacks are a thing you need in the NFL. We saw that with Mitchell Trubisky going to Buffalo. So Drew Lock, I think he had his chance. I don't think he's a starting quarterback. I think he's a solid backup option if something were to happen to your starter. So that's probably the reason why Vikings, they need someone for Kirk Cousins. Not exactly certain who the backup is in Minnesota right now. And in regards to Carolina, not sure who's backing up Sam Darnold. So I think in regards to that, it's just someone wanting a backup quarterback. And Wicked Bronco also comes in with another super chat saying Bears will continue the tradition of drafting terrible quarterbacks by trading up to 4 to draft Mac Jones or Ian Book. Then Booker Jones will battle Dalton and win the starting spot. Ian Book is better than Mitch. Well, that very well actually could potentially be true. I mean, Mitchell is just no.
Which part of this is true?
Well, Ian Book being better than Mitchell Trubisky, because Mitchell Trubisky is one of the worst quarterbacks I've seen. But then again, Ian Book also didn't look ideal out there, to say the least. So it's going to be interesting to see if the Bears can just stay pat at 20 guys and take David Mills. That seems like the ideal situation if you're the Bears. So I guess Andrew, he donated to the super chat, but he forgot to put in his comments, so he came in again so nice and graciously. Rumors say that the Falcons are looking to trade away Julio Jones. What do you guys think about them trading him and then drafting Chase or Pitts at 4? Now, I know there have been a lot of rumors in regards to the Falcons being open to trading Julio Jones. I would only do it if I'm getting a package I think is worthy of it, because I think Julio Jones, when he's healthy, which again, he's not going to play a full 16-game season, he's still, I think, a top 12, top 14 wide receiver in the NFL. You can make the case top 8 or so. He's a really good wide receiver. So I would pump the brakes a little in regards to trading Julio, unless you're getting an overwhelming package. I don't know what the cap situation is with Atlanta, how Julio's contract is, so maybe that might have something to do with it. But I'd be hesitant, and I would just take Kyle Pitts at 4 and add him to Julio and Calvin Ridley already and have an insane trio of receivers right there. But that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Julio's healthy, he's still one of the best receivers in this league for sure. So, yeah, if you add Pitts, I mean, we talked about how good the Falcons offense was last year, even just having Julio and Ridley when they were on the field at the same time. I mean, you add Pitts, that offense is going to be borderline unstoppable.
All right, guys. So there we go. Also, one final question from Eric. Over under 7 minutes for the first 2 picks. I say under. I think they're going to be awful. And I think they're going to use all 10 minutes of the clock in regards to the Jags and the Jets.
My honest question for the Jacksonville Jaguars is, if you use up more than 4 minutes of this clock, what are you doing? Like you've known for from the minute you got that pick, you knew who you're taking. Like, I always wonder what teams are doing when not just they're picking at number 1, but they know good and well who they're picking at number 1, like Jacksonville does tonight. Like, what are they doing with all that time on the clock? They just kind of sitting there and keeping people in suspense, or what?
All right, we're just going to move that right now because it is time now, boys.
I will say this really quickly. It's called free TV time and free publicity. You can sit there for 10 more minutes and you milk the entire thing.
They probably already had the pick in, and NFL Network and ESPN are just like, we're just not going to say it.
Also got a burger.
There you go. Boys, can you hear the music all right? Turn it down just a little? All right, we'll turn it down just a tad. All right, how's that sound?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, boys. Well, let's get this underway. Some NFL draft trivia. I got about 10 questions for you guys that we're going to do leading up to the NFL draft, going into the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys want to participate in the comments, you guys can write down your answer. I got a little score tracker thing right here, so I'm going to be keeping tally on regards to how you guys do. So we're going to let Brady go get something to take notes with while he does that. Don't know how long it's going to take. We'll just let the music.
I'm coming.
He's coming. He's coming. All right, so Brady's got his paper right there. All right, guys, again, about 10 questions. So we'll try to get through these questions as quickly as we possibly can so that way we can get to the draft, start analyzing it, and start drinking, having a good time tonight in the draft. So are you guys ready to get this trivia underway?
Yes.
All right, boys, this first question, it has 3 different answers. Going back to 2010, 3 Heisman winners haven't been picked in the top 2 of the NFL draft. Who were they? And you get a bonus. So you get 1 point for everyone you get right. But if you get all 3 right, I'm going to give you a bonus point, make it 4 points.
Since what year? Say the year one more time.
2010.
2010. Okay.
And we're talking top 5 or top 10 picks?
Since 2010, 3 Heisman winners haven't been picked in the top 2. Who were they?
Oh, okay.
I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds to jot down your answers.
Man, I think I might only get 1. It's not good.
As Brady's eating his delicious-looking sandwich there. All right, boys, time is up. Let's see who we all came up with in regards to this first question.
Yeah, I only got 1.
So Lyle's got Lamar. Josh has, RG3? What is that, Manti? And Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I don't think
Brady,
any of those are correct.
And Brady's
Lamar, Tebow, and Henry.
All right. Well, unfortunately, no one had a clean sweep there. It was Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Johnny Manziel.
Johnny
Manziel. So how are we? So we all get 1?
Well, no, it was 1 per. So Lyle, I believe you only had 1 correct, right?
Yeah, just 1.
Josh, how many correct did you have?
I had 1.
1, and then Brady had 2, I believe. He had Lamar and Henry. So he had 2. All right, so there was our first question. Moving on now to our second question. Guys, Oklahoma has had the most NFL draft picks in the Big 12 since 2016. Who has the second most in the Big 12 during that time? I'll give you guys about 10 seconds since it's only a Big 12 related question. Oklahoma the most picks in the NFL draft since 2016. Which Big 12 team has the second most? I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds. All right, let's see what we got here, boys.
Going out on a limb here, boys.
Lyle and Brady are correct. TCU has the second most. They've had 16 picks. How about that, TCU?
They sneaky, very, very sneaky, have a lot of guys get drafted.
That they do. All right, guys, moving on to the next question now. Which team is tied with Kansas with the least amount of picks in that time in the Big 12 with only 2? So obviously you know it's not Oklahoma, you know it's not TCU, and you know it's not Kansas. So what team is tied with only 2 draft picks since 2016 in the Big 12?
2 draft picks.
2 draft picks since 2016.
Is this and we're talking Big 12?
Yep. Tied with Kansas. I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds. All right, boys, let's see those answers.
I don't know. This is just a guess.
We got Kansas State, Iowa State, Kansas State, and Josh is on the board. Iowa State only 2 draft picks during that amount of time. All right, guys. So currently, right now, we got Brady with 3 points, Josh with 2 points, and Lyle with 2 points as well.
Should we quickly announce it is 5 o'clock, meaning the Jags are not on the clock yet, but we're just minutes away.
Also, Brady, you missed this earlier, but I made a nice little graphic. So whenever Roger Goodell comes out, in case we don't have the audio on, we can hear it ourselves. All right. Yes.
I'm just watching this beautiful ESPN intro. You did a great job with it, Lucas.
As Lyle said, the draft is officially underway. So once we're done with trivia, we're going to go over to the draft. The alcohol is going to start flowing, and this party is really going to get underway. All right, guys, moving on to the next question right now. These two Power 5 conferences are tied for the least amount of number 1 picks since 2000 with 2. So Power 5 conferences, 2 of them are in last place with only 2 number 1 picks. To get this one right, you have to get both conferences right. Since the year 2000, number 1 picks. These 2 conferences are in last with only 2. Power 5, might I add. So you guys got a pretty solid chance, I must say. All right, boys, let's throw those up and see what we got here. And unfortunately, none of you guys are right on this one. It is the ACC and the Big Ten.
Really?
Big Ten, those 2. So
who from the Pac-12?
I'm not trying to think right now. I'm not trying to think going back. But there you go right there, guys. All right, again, Brady with 3, Josh and Lyle tied with 2. All right, guys, we have another one. This one has 4 potential answers. Every one you guys get right is worth 1 point. So you guys can get up to 4 points on this question. So we got a big one coming. All right, guys. What 4 schools have had a player picked in every NFL draft during the common draft era? What 4 schools have had a player picked in every NFL draft in the common draft era, which I think officially goes back to the mid to late 60s, I think is the official common draft era. 4 schools have had a...
Wait, do we have to get all 4 of them?
No, so every one you get is worth 1 point. So you have to get all 4. I'll give you guys about 10 more seconds or so. Again, these 4 teams have had a player drafted in every draft in the common draft era. Only 4, shockingly enough. You know, with so many picks, you'd think there'd be more. All right, boys, do we have our 4 ready to go? Let's see what we got here. All right, I'll go with Josh. Josh has USC, Michigan State, Florida, Oklahoma. I'll just say this right now, guys, because it's too tough to go about. The 4, I'm going to read the 4, and you guys tell me how many of those you guys got. So, yeah, Brady, show it on the screen. All right there. All right, guys, the 4 that have had a player picked in every NFL draft, USC, Michigan State, Michigan, and Florida.
Oh,
so you guys tell me how many you got. So Brady got 3, he says. Josh and Lyle, how many did you get?
I only got 1. I only got USC. My other guesses were Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State.
My 4th team was Purdue because I know they had some crazy long streak of getting some random guys drafted, but it's not every year.
All right, so Brady currently has 6 points. Josh has 5. Lyle has 3, but still plenty of game to go, boys. We have a few more questions left. Which 3 teams have the most NFL first-round draft picks of all time? So it doesn't have to be in any order, but what 3 teams are in the top 3 in regards to most first-rounders of all time? First-round picks. Also, man. Josh, in regards to the question from earlier, Pac-12 players that went number 1, Carson Palmer, Alex Smith, Andrew Luck, and Jared Goff. I don't think Alex Smith doesn't count, so there's your 3 right there.
I don't know why I was forgetting Jared Goff, of all people.
Hey, Mel Kiper.
I was thinking Luck, and I was thinking Palmer.
All right, boys. Let's see those answers.
Going out on a limb with this one, guys.
Let me clean my hands real quick.
Oh wait, was it not supposed to be colleges? Did I get
No,
this wrong?
it is colleges.
Oh, it's college. Oh, I could tell you that right now. All right, well, I can tell you that right now. I didn't see anybody else's, but I'll tell you right now.
All right, Josh, get yours real quick.
Yo, GM, you're damn right. I'm chowing down, dude. Just polished off a burger.
All right, so guys, I'm going to read the three, then you tell me how many you got. Ohio State's the most with 84. USC's right behind with 82, and Notre Dame with a very nice 69.
Nice.
So how many did you get?
Alabama's 68, isn't it?
I don't have the official number on that. So how many you guys get?
2.
So
Yeah, I got 2.
2 for Brady, 2 for Lyle, and Josh, you said 2 as well?
2.
All right, boys, we are getting close to the end. Right now, we only got 3 questions left. Brady has 8 points, Lyle has 5 points, and Josh has 7. Let's just see. How's the draft going, boys? Have the Jags?
There's a lot of people there.
Yeah, there are.
Everybody in those front groups are all fully vaccinated. They're vaccinated.
Are they really? Everybody there is like vaccinated in a group.
In the front, the back.
Okay.
Who gives a
Have the Jags officially picked yet?
No.
Goodell hasn't even come out yet. I don't think.
Boy. All right, boys. Again, 3 questions left. What school has the longest streak of consecutive years having a first-round draft pick? What school holds the record for the most consecutive years with a first-round draft pick?
You got about 30 seconds till Goodell comes on stage, by the way.
All right.
I've got no idea with this one.
I'll give you guys about 5 more seconds.
You know what?
Yes.
I think I do.
Oh, look, it's Chloe.
Oh, dude, she's been here the whole time. I told her she could be in here if she was good, and she's a pretty big Browns fan. So,
all right, boys, let's see those guesses. We got Ohio State, we got Alabama, and we got Alabama. Guys, no one took this one. The correct answer is Miami. Miami has the record. Now, for a bonus point, because I'm feeling generous, do you guys want to guess how many consecutive years they had a first-round pick for a bonus point?
At least 2.
That is correct. No bonus point, though. Let's hear it.
8?
I'm going to go 6.
12.
Josh was the closest, 14. From 1995 through 2008, Miami had a first-round pick.
This isn't current. Okay, I was gonna say I don't know who went in the first round for Miami last year. At least I'm blanking. If
all right, guys.
Did.
So we have 2 questions left. Again, Brady has 8, Lyle has 5, Josh has 7. Still anyone's game. This next question, again, there's 2 answers, so you guys can get 2 potential points for this one. Josh might have an edge on this one because I think he answered this earlier when he read or heard the question wrong. Which 2 NFL teams have had the most number 1 overall picks in the NFL draft? Again, you get a point for each team you get right. These 2 teams have had the most number 1 overall picks. All right, boys. Let's throw those answers up and see what we got. These 2 teams.
So I know this one.
We got the Rams and Colts. Brady has Cleveland and Green Bay. Lyle has the Browns and the Bills. Josh, you are correct with both. The Rams and the Colts, in their history, have the most number 1 overall picks. Guys,
I learned the Colts just recently.
Guys, for a bonus point, how many total have they had in their history?
I wrote it down. So
7.
Lyle,
5.
Brady and Josh both get a bonus point there. Sorry, Lyle.
Brady saw it on my sheet when I wrote it down.
Yeah, I did.
No, you shouldn't give us a bonus point for that.
All right, so no bonus point for that. That's all right.
Did you see that somewhere, Josh, or have you just known that one?
So I knew that the Rams had the most, which was 7, and then I found out recently, just watching ESPN, that the Colts also had 7, which would mean that they also have the most. Therefore, it's
All
the
right,
Rams.
boys. So this is our final question right now. There are 3 different answers, so you can get up to 3 points on this question. Again, Josh has 9, Brady has 8. Sorry, Lyle, you do have 5, but you can tie for second place if Brady doesn't get any right, and you get all 3 right. So here we go, guys. 3 potential answers right here. What 3 colleges, I should say, have had 5 players go number 1 overall in NFL draft history?
So what colleges?
3 colleges have had 5 players go number 1 overall. Who are the 3 colleges? I'll give you guys about 10 more seconds or so. 3 colleges.
A point for each.
Point for each. The most number 1 picks ever.
You know what? I'm going on a limb here. I have an idea.
All right, boys. I'll give you 5 more seconds. All righty. Let's see those scorecards. Let's see those answers. What do we got here? Josh has USC, Notre Dame, Oklahoma. Brady has, Oklahoma, Army, Miami. And Lyle's got Oklahoma, USC, Ohio State. Josh with the clean sweep. Oklahoma, USC, and Notre Dame. Those 3 have had 5 number 1 picks in the history of their program. So, Josh, congratulations, my man. You are our NFL Draft Trivia winner. Congratulations. It was a valiant effort. Would you like to give a congratulatory speech on your victory?
I would like to congratulate the other 2. I mean, you guys finished top 3. That's pretty impressive. And my prize tonight is that on behalf of the LA Rams, I will be making every single Rams pick tonight. I get to make them, which is cool.
Joe Thomas. So Roger Goodell's now on stage.
Yeah. I took one piece of the headphones off to listen because I love to listen to him get booed every year. And he was just standing up there for like a minute or 2. He was just like he was like egging on Cleveland, which he does every year, but it felt like it was more than usual. He was like, "Come on, Cleveland," and he did it like 5 or 6 times there.
Because you got Joe Thomas and Jarvis Landry on stage with you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm streaming it a few minutes behind, or like a few seconds behind.
Okay.
All right. So we've officially moved over here now. I'm probably going to move back. I mean, at this point, it's not necessarily the most important thing because we already know what's going to happen in these first few picks. So, again, if you're just tuning in right now to our live NFL draft stream, welcome. Let me turn this down just a bit. Welcome to our stream.
We don't want any copyright infringement. We can't stream this thing, Blake.
Right. So for those of you that are new, essentially, we're going to be live over the next hour, 2 hours, however long you guys want to stay tuned. We're going to be giving our immediate thoughts, our immediate reactions, breaking down each team's pick. We're going to be bringing on a bunch of guests to analyze their favorite team selection. So if you guys, would like to hop on the show at some point, talk about your team's favorite pick, shoot me a DM on Twitter. We can get you on potentially later in the show. If you guys have any comments, any questions you guys have, hit us up in the live chat. It's going to be a fun time tonight. You guys can hit us up in the super chat. That way we'll guarantee to read your questions. And again, this is a whole interactive thing. We want it to be as interactive as possible, so we want to answer as many questions as you guys have. So hit us up with anything you have in the comments, and we will get to those. We'll go to Mason right here, guys. Should the Jags draft a Clemson wide receiver along with Trevor Lawrence in a late round? So I did talk about this in our mock draft last week about Travis Etienne potentially going to the Jags to reunite him with his running back. Do you think the Jags should add a Clemson playmaker to pair up with Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, if you're talking day 3, Cornell Powell's a guy who they could definitely draft. I mean, he doesn't do anything special, but he's just solid. I mean, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He could beat guys deep, at least in the college games. So I could see that. I mean, I really like Amari Rodgers as a day 2 pick. So that's another one. I mean, he's one of my day 2 sleepers that I really like. But yeah, I mean, why not? Blake talked about Travis Etienne. That's a running back, but I could see them going one of those Clemson wide receivers between Rodgers or Powell.
And again, I think I mentioned this wherever my when we talked about like where else they're picking when we did our mocks earlier on. I was kind of listening to that, so I might have missed it, but I don't remember exactly where they're picking. So it kind of depends, I think, where they're going to fall. But if one of those guys is available, I say why not?
Did you guys see the Jags fan sitting in Goodell's chair from last year?
It's
Yeah,
pretty
they
good.
brought his chair there, which is awesome.
Well, boys, I thought now since Roger Goodell just officially kicked off the NFL draft, what better way than to kick off this NFL draft stream with this beautiful, nicely, this little mini sweater that I got back during Christmas time at Target of Tito's. It's a brand new. Oh, this thing is light.
Blake, while you're doing that,
This thing
can
has a
I
thought.
break?
Ice cold. Yes. Go ahead, Lyle.
While you're okay. So Pro Football Talk tweets, buzz is definitely building for Broncos making a move for Aaron Rodgers. GM George Patton witnessed what Aaron can do while in Minnesota, and Coach Vic Fangio witnessed it while in Chicago. So basically, this tweet is the Broncos may now be making a push.
What do you need a witness for Aaron Rodgers? He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. That's like saying,
I don't know.
That guy's going to be something special one day. No shit.
Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just reading the Pro Football Talk tweet. But
The
Tusky and drinking is encouraged, by the way.
The thought out. So we're gonna pour some in here right now. Now this is a heavy
vodka shouldn't be frozen because vodka doesn't freeze.
Well, you'd be surprised, Brady. Do you remember at Taylor?
That was because there was so much sugar in your damn vodka. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was that raspberry Smirnoff, whatever that was.
Taylor Place was definitely not the name of a dorm, by the way. Definitely not.
I got an important question for you guys, though, before this all starts. What kind of snacks you guys have rocking right now? I got my peanut butter filled pretzels.
I've got a $20 cup from a Dodger game that may or may not have liquid in it yesterday, which was probably worth like $4, but I spent $20 on the cup. So
Wigan Bronco, don't sleep on Chattanooga, a player getting drafted. Hey, if a Chattanooga player gets drafted, then we're all pounding shots. Also, the Broncos get A-Rod. We are Super Bowl contenders. God, A-Rod's probably just trying to buy
rocking a green suit for tonight. Very interesting.
I like it. All right, boys. Well, again, let me kick off this draft with a celebratory shot. I don't know where your guys' beverages are. Maybe it's just me that's going to be getting absolutely black tonight, but that's all right. Again, throughout the show, you guys can donate to the Super Chat. For every Super Chat donation of more than $8, I will be taking a shot. However, though, guys, I will also be having a mixed drink by my side, and every Super Chat donation we get could be any amount. I will be having a sip of my mixed drink. So if you want to see me pound a shot, a Super Chat donation of $8, and then for every Super Chat donation moving forward, I'll have a nice sip of my mixed drink. So without further ado, this Tito's that's been sitting in my freezer for the last 4 or 5 months, however long it's been.
Attaboy, Blake.
It's been some time.
Brady, to answer your question, I can only eat soft food, remember? So I can't eat that many snacks.
Boy, oh boy, has it been some time, boys.
Lyle's got like applesauce and pudding.
All right, boys, let's take a look at
exactly.
What we have. Jags drafting a kicker or a nose tackle with the first pick. I don't know about going kicker, but I think nose tackle is a smart move. Going overall. Guys, Michael Williams wants to know, who are your guys' teams again? All right, we'll just go around the room and share our teams in case people are new. I'll kick things off. I'm a Saints fan, so that is my team. So I won't be getting interested until later in this draft unless the Saints decide to trade them to make things really interesting.
I'm a Rams fan, so if you didn't get my little joke from earlier, that's the reason why I'm making all of their picks tonight on their behalf. They have none, so I'm a Rams fan. Oh God! So that's the thing. So I already made my statement. My statement has been said. If they get a pick in this first round, I'm not going to be able to follow through. So I'll apologize now.
I'm a Colts fan too. So 21st pick, you guys probably won't see me on screen for that one. I'll probably be asleep, or I'll watch it then very quickly fall asleep after.
Yeah, I'm a Seahawks fan, and we're not picking tonight, and they might not pick in the second round tomorrow because they're probably trading back.
Right, they very might well. All right, guys, so we're 5 minutes in, and the Jags are, again, just being the worst ever by not making the pick yet. Let's go read some more questions, some more Super Chats and whatnot. Guys, here's a going for Lyle right here, No Limit Post. Do you think Ian Book will be picked at all?
Not tonight. He'll probably be somewhere in day 3. I bet you he's like a 6th round guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think around that mark. I did see some mocks that actually had him like in like the 3rd round, which seems interesting. I don't know what team's seen Ian Buck that I don't, so that'll be fun to see. Can't believe only Tito's for the boys. Should have made straight Everclear. Come on, boys. Oh boy.
No.
Can you imagine if we whipped out the Everclear?
I don't have Everclear.
I don't have Everclear. I hope nobody has Everclear. That is
so my dad's got a few bottles of Everclear at our house because you don't know why. Because he was making his own hand sanitizer.
Oh God!
At the beginning of the pandemic, when you couldn't get any, so Everclear is like a main ingredient of it. So there you go, Everclear.
Yeah, because it's like
Everclear is like
94% pure alcohol, whatever that exactly is. Oh my goodness, right there. Also, another one from our man Wicked Broncos. Did the Saints have enough capital to even sign all their draft picks? Well, cap right there. The good thing is I don't have to worry about that because it's not my money. The Saints, I mean, they've been in an awful cap situation for the last month, so they've done a lot of reworking contracts. I know that. I think they have a lot of work to do. So we're going to have to wait and see. Lucas McKnight says, read my other super chat, or else I'll switch to a Notre Dame fan. Y'all don't want that. Well, Lucas, I don't even – unfortunately, yours must have been a while back because it's not coming up. So whatever question you asked earlier in the show, ask us again so that way we can get to that moving forward. Michael Williams, realistic odds of Aaron Rodgers being traded in your opinion? Brady, we talked about the whole Aaron Rodgers situation before.
I saw that earlier.
I pretty much think, I'm not going to say guarantee, but I think it's a high chance that Aaron Rodgers gets dealt because obviously he seems pissed at the whole situation.
I do think it's a high chance, but I heard you guys talking about this when I was driving home and I was listening to the start of the show. And I don't remember which one of you guys said it, but, one of the two quarterbacks is going to go. And, yeah, Aaron Rodgers isn't happy. They're not happy, whatever. I think Jordan Love's going to be the guy who has a bigger chance of leaving. I think if the Packers have a say in it, but similar to what we saw with Jimmy Garoppolo a few years back with the Patriots, a guy like that and can go and get dealt in. Hey, he's going to be your day one starter, be decent for a few years, and then who knows what. So I think there's a strong chance Rodgers does get traded, but I think it would make more sense for Jordan Love to be the one traded.
Yeah. I agree. It'll be interesting to see. So, guys, again, for whatever reason, the Jags are taking their time. Brady said it. It makes for good television. It's smart. I'm sure that they encourage this because maybe there's people out there that think Trevor Lawrence might be the pick. So this adds a little excitement as Josh's dog is going absolutely crazy.
Being real obnoxious. Look at this.
I mean,
what's up, Lyle?
Oh, I was going to say, I mean, it does make for good TV. I'll give them that because there's no way they need all this time to figure out who they're taking.
All right, guys, this question comes from Michael Williams. Who do you think is going to be the first non-quarterback drafted?
Penei Sewell.
I'll say Pitts.
Oh, yeah, Pitts.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. It should be Penei Sewell because I still think the team trades with the Falcons at 4 to get there, but I think it's going to be Kyle Pitts. I think they go with him there.
Guys, they're showing all this Trevor Lawrence stuff up on the TV on ESPN before he's even been picked. How hilarious would it be if they just take Zach Wilson and they just wasted all this time showing all this Trevor Lawrence stuff and they just pull a Vontae Mack, a Sonny Weaver, and just shock the world. Shock the world. Because, again, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead, Lyle.
I was just going to say, because ever since Trevor Lawrence stepped on the field at Clemson, we basically started to talk about him as the number 1 pick in the 2021 NFL draft. And we've been talking about it now since we were juniors at ASU, which is, I don't know, I'm just starting to think how crazy it is. We've been waiting for this forever, and now he's finally going to go off the board.
Speaking of which, I was going to say, did any of you guys watch draft day either today, yesterday, or a few days ago? Because I had my viewing last night, and it still is as amazing as it was upon first time watching. He said something like, oh yeah, I read it. I read the film. Oh, so good. I was trying to explain to MJ that no way that any of these trades would actually go down, but it still makes for good TV.
it just makes no sense that, like when they trade for Callahan, it's like, we just gave up 3 first-round picks for this guy, but we still have work to do to figure out if we're actually going to pick him.
Yeah, I like the whole reason, the fact that Seahawks go back is just,
Yeah, the Seahawks get finessed.
I will say this, though. There was a small part in the back of my mind that was thinking, I just have a feeling they're going to do something here. Trevor Lawrence is the smart pick. That's the way to go. But there was a slight part of me that thought they weren't going to do it.
Can I give my pretty reasonable reaction?
Yes.
Oh, my God. No way.
I like it. All right, guys, we got a super chat that comes in from our man Lucas McKnight. You're lucky I'm for the boys. Here's another 10. Anyway, who do you believe the best team in the AFC besides Kansas City is, and why would you say the Titans? Who's the worst team, and why would you say Denver? I mean, the Titans are such a weird team because, like, they are so good. I just don't know if I would just want to buy into Ryan Tannehill. Like, I get he's a good quarterback, but I just think maybe what he did in Miami kind of just gave me a sour taste in him, where, like, he's literally, like, numbers-wise, since he became the starting quarterback, has been, like, a top 6, top 7 quarterback in the NFL. But I just don't know if he can – I mean, he almost did, to be honest. He almost led them to the Super Bowl. But I just don't know if he's the right guy, even though, like I said, he's good. Best team, I still think it's probably Baltimore. If we're not talking about teams other than Kansas City, I'd say Baltimore still. But what do you guys think? Who do you think's the best besides Kansas City?
If the Niners get Rodgers, then they'd be the best in the NFC. But then I don't even know in the NFC, but in the AFC, I don't really know. I guess, especially if Denver can, if Denver does anything, I guess that's kind of right. Like maybe the Broncos. Like if the Broncos can pull off that trade, I think that there's legitimate, like they have a legitimate reason to be in the conversation. But there's nobody other than KC, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll say Buffalo after Kansas City is the best team. But yeah. All right, should we do a little Trevor Lawrence talk while the Jets are on the clock now, just since Lawrence got picked?
Let's do it.
Have we covered it? Yeah.
I'll say we can just do a little quick something. Overall, I mean, Urban Meyer's coming into a very good situation there. Trevor Lawrence, he has some really good weapons already there in Jacksonville. Just, I guess, guys, just expectations for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags. I know Lyles said on our show 2 days ago, he thinks there's a chance the Jags can be a playoff team in 2021 with Trevor Lawrence at the helm.
I do. I think they're going to get a wild card spot. I don't think they beat Tennessee in the division as a rookie with Trevor Lawrence as a rookie, but I think they make the playoffs. I think that's what elite quarterbacks can do. And I think Trevor Lawrence in his rookie year, you're going to see him, like Blake said, he's got some weapons. They might not be elite weapons, but between Marvin Jones, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, they're reliable weapons. And then they've made some moves on the defensive side of the ball too. I mean, they signed Shaquille Griffin to get a cornerback in free agency. They've drafted on the defensive side the last couple of years with guys like Josh Allen. So I know Jacksonville struggled last year, but they've made some good signings. And again, the key here is an elite quarterback, like people expect Lawrence to be, can turn this thing around in 1 year.
Now, I will say this. What are the odds that Urban Meyer comes out and he says, oh, Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew, we're gonna have a quarterback battle. We're gonna have a quarterback battle to see who the better quarterback is and who wins the job. Do you think he comes out? Or do you think he straight up just says, "Yeah, no, Trevor Lawrence is our guy" immediately? Or does he at least give Gardner Minshew at least a couple months of somewhat respect?
I don't think months. I think you give him a few weeks of respect and just, he's the guy who's been on the roster. He's signed to the squad. He's played for the team. So I think you got to give Gardner Minshew a bit of respect. I'm not going to say he's going to have a single shot in the world at starting, but you got to give him some respect and some props out of there before Trevor just comes and completely takes over.
All right, now before because I would like to briefly talk about the Jets and Zach Wilson before they make the pick, because sadly our super Jets fan Tall Matt, he can't be with us tonight, as if it sounds like something really happened to him. Because I do want to talk about the 49ers picking at 3, because that's going to be that's where the draft starts. So before we get to that, though, we have one final super chat. I don't know why Lucas hates Denver so much, but who gives Denver the best chance to make a playoff push or even a Super Bowl push? Rodgers, Fields, Lance, sticking with locks? Or I mean, this is an easy question. I mean, if you had Aaron Rodgers to the mix, you are immediately a Super Bowl contender. I think the Broncos have a really good offense. They have a really good defense. If they somehow get Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be, in my opinion, probably the second or third best team in the AFC. But if they don't go with Rodgers, I think maybe Justin Fields over Trey Lance, because I think Trey Lance still needs more time to develop. Again, Drew Lock, he has the connection, he has the chemistry, but I'm just not a huge fan of him. So I'd say either Fields or I guess Lock if you don't get Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Fields. I think he's got a lot of potential. So I'm suddenly I'm on the Lyles argument for the last couple of years, which has been very pro Fields, and I'm on that fully for the NFL draft. So I don't know. I like Fields if you don't do the Rodgers thing, but I don't know. Locke wasn't horrible. He just wasn't the guy.
Right.
I think I mean, obviously Rodgers is number one because, I mean, you can talk all the hype you want about these prospects. Rodgers is not only a proven player, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever who just came off an MVP. So obviously that's number one. But after that, yeah, it's Justin Fields. Josh and I have said this before. We don't have to dive too deep into the reasons why, but I still believe the reasons Fields is falling in this draft, I think, are ridiculous. So, yeah, Fields is my guy. Of all these guys, I take Fields.
All right, guys, before we move on, one final thing that comes from our man Connor. Rappaport said that the Packers haven't engaged in any trade talks at all, despite some teams calling. So nothing has changed. So it looks like all those Broncos rumors, those are kind of just nothing in regards to right now. All right, guys, so we know, again, Zach Wilson, he's going to go number 2 to the Jets, assuming the Jets go with what everyone's been assuming the last few weeks. So why don't we just start talking right now about whether or not we think that's a smart decision? I mean, it seems like over a month ago, the Jets kind of already decided Zach Wilson's our guy. We're committing to him. And that's something I feel like we haven't really talked about in previous shows. We've just said Zach Wilson number 2, but we haven't really gone in depth on whether or not that's a smart move for the Jets. We've talked about who the 49ers should take, who other teams should trade up for, everything about Trevor Lawrence. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on whether or not the Jets are making a smart move by going with Zach Wilson at number 2.
Before I give you that answer, Goodell's coming up to the podium right now.
Also, we never, I mean, it was Trevor Lawrence, but we never even said who they picked at 1. So we should, tell people who the pick is here.
Oh, it's Zach Wilson. Oh, no, I did, because I was saying, guys, I had some doubts that they'd even say Trevor Lawrence even before they said his name. So officially, Zach Wilson, number 2. Now the draft is really going to get interesting. All right, guys, so back to the question.
As Adam Schefter said, and now the 2021 draft is officially underway.
Also, I'm staying
Correct.
off my phone. I'm just going to say I'm staying off my phone so I don't get any pre-notifications because I want to find out live on the show. So, Brady, if you can tell Adam to not text you who the picks are, that would be much appreciated. And also
I think you're like 10 seconds ahead of us because you're ahead of me for sure.
Yeah, Blake, you're ahead of us.
All right, boys. So, again, Zach Wilson to the Jets.
Goodell just said Zach Wilson right there.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so, Brady, you're a little behind then because, Zach Wilson was like, I think they said the name like maybe 30 seconds ago for me. But, okay, so just to clarify for people listening, Trevor Lawrence went 1, Zach Wilson went 2, just like we all expected. I can kick this off about if this is a smart move or not for the Jets. I know some people say, well, what kind of competition did he face when he played his toughest game of the year this year against Coastal Carolina? He was just okay. And then the craziest thing about Zach Wilson is he was in a 3-man quarterback battle going into this year. Like, he didn't win the job with ease out of camp. He had to earn it. And then not only did he earn it, he played so well that he turned himself into the number 2 pick. I think Justin Fields is my QB2 personally for this draft. But for the Jets, I think this makes sense. So this is the guy they've been linked to all along. They clearly needed a quarterback. That was made even more so the case when they traded Sam Darnold away. And there's reasons why people love Zach Wilson. It's because of those, off-script throws, the playmaking he can make, when he has to improvise, when he gets out of the pocket. People talk about those Mahomes-type throws that he can make. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but he can make some of those throws that are similar to that. So I think it makes a lot of sense. They're going for that modern, new-style quarterback, and I think they had to take a QB here with this pick. So I think it makes a lot of sense. We'll see if he ends up being the second-best quarterback, but yeah, I think for the most part, there's logic behind this pick.
Look how excited he is just to high five that fan. Like
Yeah,
he gave the fan a hug.
Because I was trying to figure out my lighting because the sun was going nuts. But I saw some people in the comments, they were saying, man, Zach Wilson is going nuts right now. So I guess he was pumped and he was excited to figure out he was going to the Jets. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, there's a chance, he could be a really good quarterback. I mean, first off, he looks like he's going to his senior year prom the way he looks. This dude looks so young. But it was interesting that the Jets kind of committed so early to him, especially again when you got guys like Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. I did find it a bit shocking that they were so willing to already commit to him. And I've said this in weeks past when people have asked us in the live chat, who do you think has a chance to be the biggest bust? And I've said I think Zach Wilson has a chance to be the biggest bust because it's not going to be Trevor Lawrence, because even though if he doesn't live up to expectations, he was the easy number one pick. You weren't going to take him. And then at this point, I mean, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, they're going to be quarterback 3, 4, 5. There's not going to be a whole lot of expectations on them, whereas Zach Wilson, he in a way is kind of like quarterback 1 because you knew Trevor Lawrence was off the board. So you essentially have the number 1 pick with all these available players. So I think Zach Wilson has the biggest bust potential just because of all the expectations. But it's going to be interesting to see because, again, Sam Darnold, he had all those expectations years ago. He went to the Jets. That obviously didn't work. So it's interesting to see how differently Zach Wilson's going to look, at the helm compared to a Sam Darnold, because the Jets still don't really have any weapons. I mean, again, Denzel Mims, Jamison Crowder, Berrios is there, and you got Michael Pirine and as your running back. Is Frank Gore still there? I don't even know where Frank Gore's at this point in his career. Maybe he's still there.
Yeah, he's still there.
So the Jets don't really have a lot of offensive weapons. So he's going to be thrown into the fire. Luckily, no more Adam Gase. But again, Zach Wilson, he's going to be on a hot stool, especially in the beautiful city of New York, where they overanalyze everything.
Did you guys ever read the article in The Ringer on Zach Wilson?
I didn't.
Okay, I just thought it was pretty cool. I guess he was like Joe Burrow. I mean, he is like Joe Burrow in the sense that he was a nobody going into this year, and he shot himself all the way up to the top of the draft. Apparently, he idolized Joe Burrow, and all through COVID and the offseason, apparently he downloaded every Joe Burrow tape from his junior year to his senior year on DVR, and he watched all of it. He picked everything apart. He was writing down notes. He watched it so intensely because his goal was, how can I do what Joe Burrow just did and turn myself into a blue chip prospect? And whatever he did worked because, again, he shot himself from probably a day 3 pick and a guy that wasn't even locked in to win the starting job going into this season to the number 2 pick in the draft.
Hey, Lila, Samantha Underlie says you're a superstar.
Oh, well, I appreciate that.
Like that right there. All right, guys. Wicked Bronco, why are people so high on Mac Jones? I mean, I watched him in person against Notre Dame, and honestly, the whole game was all Smith. I think A.J. Hurts and Tua are all better Bama quarterbacks. I mean, I get Mac Jones had a lot of good weapons, but there's a reason he set the record for, highest completion percentage in FBS history. I forget what his touchdown to interception rate was. It wasn't, I don't think the best of all time, but I mean, if it was so easy, other quarterbacks would have done it. I get Mac Jones. Maybe he isn't the best, second best, or third best quarterback, but the more I've been looking into him, I'm kind of sold on the guy. I think he's a really good quarterback. So I like him. I honestly think he's better than AJ McCarron, Jalen Hurts, and Tua. I think he's better. Definitely AJ McCarron, though. I think that's an easy one. I think Mac Jones is definitely better than AJ McCarron. I could see maybe making a case with Tua and Hurts, but I think easily by far better than AJ McCarron.
I told you guys at the beginning of this season that he was going to be Bama's quarterback this year, and I said that he was going to be good. And I'm going to keep plugging that because I'm proud of that.
Hey, you got it right. We didn't.
I'm happy about it. Yeah, I mean, I think he's good. I think obviously I don't totally agree with what Drudel said earlier.
He was spewing hot takes there.
He was spewing hot takes. The dog does not agree either. Apparently, my goodness,
I was all for it. I loved it.
Wow, that type of language is not tolerated in this house. But yeah, I think if you look at
how far ahead I am. So for me, at least, the 49ers pick is in. So that means it's coming, momentarily. The Falcons are currently on the clock. So it's just a heads up to, again, avoid comments, avoid your phone, because I don't know, again, how far ahead people are. I know Brady's kind of pretty far back. So we'll kind of keep it calm and collected until Brady sees it. Lyle, I think we're probably fairly similar, fairly even in regards to where it's at. Josh is nowhere to be found, so not exactly certain there. But
you're fine for reacting for me. I've got all the info on my phone anyway, so we're good.
All right. So I just want to see. So right now behind the screen, it says there's 8:43 left for the Falcons. Not exactly certain how much time it said for you guys.
Yeah,
clock hasn't started.
Yeah, mine hasn't started.
Yeah, mine hasn't started either.
Well, no, it's not started. It's like in the background, like on the screen
behind them.
Yeah. So we got the pick coming up right now for the 49ers. All right, guys, final call. Who do you got making this? Who do you got the pick being?
Mac.
I'm going to say McCorkle.
I got Mac as well, so we'll go from there and see.
Here comes Big Raj.
Boys?
Oh. Ian Book. Well, boys, the draft is officially underway.
Well, then.
I had
yeah, it is.
Hold on. Drink up. Wow. I'll take it away. I'll let you start this thing.
I will say this really quickly. San Francisco thought he was the smartest quarterback in this draft.
So I know all of
he was the smartest guy.
I know all of Seahawks Twitter was rooting their tails off for it to be Mac Jones because they all seem to believe he's going to be, if not the bust, the guy who has the lowest ceiling. I know when Drew was on, he seemed to think otherwise, and he seemed to reject that narrative, which is fair. Like I've said on Trey Lance, I like him, and he's an interesting prospect. The thing is with him, and maybe some of the issues people have are, one, the accuracy, because I know his accuracy has to improve in terms of being an NFL-ready quarterback, and just his lack of games mixed in with he played in the FCS. I don't personally have an issue with the FCS thing, but I know some people do, and I think that's why he was knocked down on a lot of draft boards. But clearly to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, this was their guy.
Yeah, I think I've got no issue with the FCS either. And I think that there's a lot of really good talent in the FCS too. The one thing that I do think is outside of the accuracy, he definitely did have a lack of games, and you can't argue about that. So the lack of live talent and live action that he's seen over the last year, we'll say, has not been that comparable to some of the other guys in this draft. I do want to point out what Cole, what Cole had talked about on Twitter. Again, we've said go check out Cole, who's going to come back later. Check out Cole on Twitter, and Lyle had brought this up too with the accuracy. So Cole had gone through and has this thread on his Twitter account. I don't remember if it's his pin tweet or what, but he has a thread that kind of talks about some of the accuracy of these guys, especially downfield. And for Lance, it's definitely lacking compared to some of the other guys. So I do think that's something to keep in mind. But again, I think the ceiling, his potential's through the roof, right? It's just we haven't seen as much of him as we have of other players.
His 318 passing attempts are the least ever. I'm sorry, the least for a quarterback in the first round in the last 40 years. 318 total passing attempts.
Well, again, it's one of those things where, I said this, when we started the show, Mac Jones, especially if you get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo, Mac Jones is more NFL ready. But the ceiling is higher with Trey Lance, where, again, this can be a guy where I'm not saying he's going to have like a Cam Newton type season, but he very well can put up numbers similar to what Cam did, about all those years ago when he was healthy. So the potential's there. It's going to be interesting with Trey Lance. And now is when things also get really interesting, guys, because we knew that they were going to be going quarterback, so it doesn't really shake things up too much. But Mac Jones now, it seemed like he was a guy where he was attached to San Francisco. I think we could see Mac Jones take a potential Bo Callahan fall, where teams might not be wanting to pick him until, someone 9 or 10, they might want to trade up to get him. So I think we're going to see Mac Jones fall. We're going to see Justin Fields potentially go here at number 4. So we have our man Andrew Koster, who's going to come on for about a minute or two after the Falcons pick to just give his immediate reactions as a Falcon fan to what he thinks of the pick. But, 4 minutes left right now. You're the Falcons. You're sitting on the clock. You have Matt Ryan. He's still going to be there. Do you take a quarterback in Justin Fields or Mac Jones, develop for a couple more years, or do you go tight end with Kyle Pitts? Do you get a guy like Penei Sewell? Do you add a wide receiver like Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle? If you're the Falcons, what are you doing at this number 4 spot?
I legitimately think that Kyle Pitts is a game changer. And I think that's something we talked about earlier. I said Penei Sewell is the best player in the draft. And then Lyle had said, what about Kyle Pitts? And then I said, yeah, Kyle Pitts. I think he's the most talented player in the draft that's not a quarterback. So if I'm the Falcons, I'm going Kyle Pitts right here. It's just another weapon to your offense. And I think it's also – think about how many games they blew this year at the very, very end. And I'm not saying a player is going to change that. Or a specific player is going to change that, but I really don't think that it was because of a guy like Matt Ryan. And I know there's no replacing Matt Ryan, whatever. I just think you're better off not going quarterback here. And I think that the best player on the board is Kyle Pitts.
Well, Blake said it. First off, now I can really feel some adrenaline going because through the first, 20 minutes of that draft, we knew it was going to be Trevor Lawrence. We knew it was going to be Zach Wilson. Now it's really fun because now we don't know what's going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen at 3. We don't know here with this pick at 4. I will be interested to see if it's a quarterback or not because I think they're going to go one of 2 ways. I think it's either going to be Pitts or it's going to be a quarterback. And the narrative for Fields here, if he goes at 4, would be cool because he's a Georgia kid. He transferred out of Georgia, obviously. Then he has a chance to come back to Georgia now and play in his home state. And the narrative there is cool. The pick just got submitted, so we'll see what it is. But, yeah, the only thing about that is if the Falcons are wanting to win now, a guy like Pitts would give them a better chance to do that. Because if you're going to take Fields, unless you're planning to trade Matt Ryan, he's probably going to sit on the bench for a little while. So if the Falcons want to really try and compete in the NFC South now, a guy like Pitts would make sense.
Yeah, my guess is I think they're going to be going Pitts just because, especially now with Lance off the board, if a team really – I could see it. I just don't see them going quarterback because I've said in weeks past, I think this is a team that could potentially be a wild card team that can make the playoffs. So I don't think you need to get a quarterback that's going to sit for a few years. Where Kyle Pitts, I said this like a month ago as well, he could be a number 5, number 6 overall tight end in the NFL next year. He's that good. So you get yourself a guy who could potentially be a Pro Bowl tight end, add to an already really good offense, and then if you're the Falcons, build in the draft the rest of the way. But again, who knows? Things are going to be interesting. If they do go quarterback here and go Justin Fields or Mac Jones, then all of a sudden it seems like the draft's going to be kind of – I'm not going to say as crazy as it could be because I still think there could be anarchy with 2 quarterbacks sitting on the board. So my pick, guys, we're going to go around the room real quick. My final pick is Kyle Pitts. Goodell's coming up. Who do you guys have right now?
Pitts. I think it should be Pitts.
I think it's Pitts.
I think it should be Pitts, but I think it's going to be Fields. Also, really quickly before Goodell announces the pick, Schefter tweeted that the Niners didn't tell their coaches or scouts their pick. They didn't know the team was selecting Trey Lance until the pick was actually announced.
Full Sonny Weaver. All right, here we go.
With the 4th pick in the 20.
All right, so there you go. It is officially Kyle Pitts. I keep forgetting to do the sound effects, so for good measure. So Kyle Pitts, guys, Atlanta, they get their tight end right there. I'm going to send the link right now to our man, Andrew Koster, who is a Falcons fan, just so we can get the perspective from a Falcons fan, whether or not they like the addition of Pitts, whether or not they should have gone quarterback, something like that. So while we wait to hear from him, what are you guys' takeaways, thoughts on that?
Pitts is the highest drafted tight end ever in NFL draft history. The previous ones were 5th overall, one of them being Mike Ditka. So if that says any indication of what the Falcons think of Kyle Pitts, he was drafted higher than Mike Ditka was.
I like these
stats tight end ever.
Brady, where are you getting these stats from? Because you're not even reading them off notes. You just memorized them? You just know them off the top of your head?
I got my information, buddy.
You probably have some intern in your headphone right now that's reading you all these stats that make you look fantastic. All right, so the Falcons, they go with Kyle Pitts. We lost Josh. Again, we're going to be bringing on our buddy Andrew Koster for, again, 1 or 2 minutes just to hear his immediate takeaways his thoughts as a Falcons fan, them adding Kyle Pitts, and what this means for the team moving forward. And as of right now, the Bengals are on the clock. They have 6 minutes left. So I guess after the Bengals pick, I know we're going to have a lot to talk about there because there is some controversy in regards to who they're going to pick. I think it's a clean sweep around the board. I know, especially with Lyle and I, who the Bengals should take. But for whatever reason, it seems like they're going in a different direction. So there's going to be a lot to say after this Bengals pick, I must say. Brady, any more snacks on your end for the night? Or are you done? Are you done?
I've got my peanut butter pretzels here still. Those are down below me. And I went Roger Goodell-esque. Not peanut M&Ms, but I went with the Reese's Pieces eggs, which are really good. They're kind of like the regular Reese's Pieces, but they're a little bigger. I'll show you. Hang on.
Solid.
They're Reese's Pieces about that big. They're really good.
There you go. And Michael says here in the live chat, Falcons need defense, though. The Falcons desperately do need defense. But again, when you get a talent like Kyle Pitts at 4, again, this is a draft where there are just no defensive players that are, I don't think that game-changing, where in years past, there's always at least one defensive player that seems like a top 5, top 6 pick guarantee, where if the Falcons were picking like a maybe 7, 8, or 9, I think they probably would have gone defense. But in regards to that, I can't see them going defense at 4. All right, we got our man Andrew Koster right here. He's rocking his Falcons jersey. He looks like he's already prepared. All right, Andrew.
Love it, Josh. Love it. Love it.
Oh, he's got the Clemson shirt on. I should have gone and gotten mine. Like I said,
his boy went number 1 overall, and then we got
good night so far,
on the
man.
show now, so we got to represent.
Like I said, Andrew,
NFL draft shirt on.
we have about like 1 or 2 minutes, but it's going to be entirely dedicated to you. So, as a Falcons fan, as someone who loves the team more than anyone we know, give us your immediate takeaway, your immediate reactions to drafting Kyle Pitts number 4 overall.
I had a bunch of mixed feelings on what the Falcons should do. I thought they maybe should trade back and get defense, but there's just not like any game changers really on defense in this draft, I feel like. So, I also thought maybe they could trade Julio away and get maybe Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. But, at the end of the day, I think Pitt's going to actually be good. And the more I think about it, that offense is going to be very scary. So now you got – not only do you have to deal with guys like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley who are proven stars, now you got a tight end to deal with. So now it's just – I think this team's just going to be – offense-wise, going to be scary. Defense, though, a little nerve-wracking still. They've always been that way, but – I'm used to it. I'm just hoping they don't blow as many leads as they did last year. That's all I hope for.
Well, they're an Atlanta team, so that's coming. So I will ask you one final question before you go. Had they not gone Kyle Pitts, let's say you were making the pick, what direction would you have gone? I know we talked, and you would have been on board with them trading the pick back, racking up more picks or something like that. Let's say they wouldn't have traded the pick to rack up more. What other player would you have been okay with them taking number 4 overall?
Man, that's tough because, I thought about maybe quarterback, but, this Matt Ryan's got too many years. I probably would have maybe said, I guess, a wide receiver or something because it just wouldn't make sense to draft a defender that high up, or if anything, maybe an offensive lineman like Sewell, because the offensive Matt Ryan's also had some more issues. Whoever said that 28-3, by the way, go away. You're irrelevant. Peasant. Also, Blake, Tito's is disgusting. How dare you say I was drinking that earlier?
That's the worst take we've had on this show today. We had Drew Carter on this show, and that's the worst take we've had today.
Nah.
I won't be offended by that. Brady, I think, will be the one that's more offended if you say Tito's is that.
I had it for my 21st, man. It was the biggest mistake I had.
Is that what you were drinking in New Orleans that night, or?
No. We still got to talk about that story. That might have to. That was Jaeger. That was Jägermeister. That was Jägermeister. Actually, funny enough.
Oh yeah, Jaeger.
That's what I was gonna say. It had to have been Jaeger.
Funny enough, I actually have a Jägermeister shirt that I.
Oh yeah, one show this offseason, we will have Andrew explain the nights in NOLA that took place, because even for the most part, I just got like the Spark Notes version. I want to hear the in-depth. So Andrew, we appreciate you hopping on the show. Enjoy Kyle Pitts, because again, that's not a bad pick to have a number 4, a guy that literally is going to be your number 3 option, who very well could be a Pro Bowler next year. So enjoy the pick. Hopefully you'll be sticking around in the chat so we can keep throwing your comments on the screen with whatever it takes you have. And best of luck to your Falcons, and best of luck to any Atlanta sports team you follow, because I know it's absolute hell because they all suck.
Hawks are in the playoffs position right now, bro. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but yeah, we know what's going to happen.
Hey, what are your Clippers going to do? They're going to be just like any Atlanta sports team and choke too. So,
oh, trust me, I already know. I already know.
And
All
your
right,
Saints are going to be catching some L's too. So don't worry.
That's our man, Cost Sports. Again, we always appreciate the time, Andrew, and enjoy the rest of the night. And don't get hit by a car. I love you, man. I love you, bro.
Good Lord.
All right, so that was our man, Andrew Coster. Again, if you're a fan of the
Can I jump in? Can I jump in and say something real quick?
Yes, you can.
So to keep this draft fun and lively, having all these guests on, it's a lot of fun. If you guys have any Q&A questions, drop them in the chat as we go along. Non-draft related, those are always fun ones. So hey, short round, if you want to drop a few, I see you're in the chat right now. If you want to drop some questions throughout the night, we're all for it.
Hey, my man Ryan Snelling's here. He knows what's up. I'm here for Blake. Thank you, Ryan Snellings. I will take a sip of my mixed beverage because of your comment.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice that we've had some $10 donations and haven't seen Blake reacting at all.
True. Guys, I'm mind boggled right now because Short Round said after the Trey Lance pick, he said, as a fan of Trey Lance since high school, I hope he tears the league up. But as a Seahawks fan, I'm scared to death. Short Round is a Seahawks fan. Who is Short Round? Who is does he live in Seattle? I thought he was from, the Midwest.
It's definitely Spencer.
We need to get him on the show tonight.
Maybe it is Spencer.
Yeah, where's Short Round when you need him? Where's Short
know.
Round when you need him? Hey, Nate says Team Lyle. I don't know what we're talking about that, but Team Lyle. All right, guys. So the Bengals are on the clock right now. So again, roundtable. Who do you think the pick's going to end up being?
I think it's going to be Chase, but man, it should be Sewell. It should be Sewell.
I think it's Sewell.
It should be Sewell, but again, just for the sole reason that rumors have been heating up. When I looked at it earlier, Jamar Chase was the favorite. I think the Bengals are going to do it. I think they're going to go. I think they're going to go Jamar Chase, which again, considering you have a franchise quarterback that was literally getting killed out there, and you're not going to protect him with the generational talent, I think it's ridiculous. Also, Brady, I'm sure you know this because you're our draft insider. Do you know who these people are that are sitting in Goodell's chair? Are they just random fans that were selected?
So what they are is they're taking one fan from each of the fully vaccinated fan section up front. One fan from each section to sit in Goodell's chair as the pick is being made. So they're just full. We're getting the special treatment right now. Yeah. Yeah.
These idiots.
Look, I'm sure Joe Burrow is happy because I'm sure he loves Jamar Chase. But how are they passing on an all-pro left tackle?
Yeah, this is just and I like the word that Cole used earlier when we had him on, and now I'm very excited to get Cole back on the show. That is irresponsible.
Shoot him a message and then he can join whatever because I want to hear his thoughts. But
okay,
Josh, continue.
That is just irresponsible. I mean, and I'm not talking about oh my God, this is you're so stupid. This is a Trubisky situation. It's Jamar Chase is going to be a great NFL player. I'll tell you that right now. We've said that on all of our shows, but it is irresponsible to not take Penei Sewell fifth overall. So,
Yeah.
And you know what? From selfishly, I think that screws up all of our mock drafts. Now, where does Sewell go? That's what I think is crazy at this point.
Well, if you're a team right now, you need to be
Coach O there at the draft tonight.
I think the Chargers, if you're the Chargers, you got to bring him. So we got our man Cole in here. We're throwing him in hot because the Dolphins are picking in 5 minutes. Cole, the Bengals did it. They, for some reason, don't care about Joe Burrow. They care about his stats more importantly. They go with Jamar Chase, who, again, is the best wide receiver in this draft class. So don't hear what we're not saying. They're adding a very, very good offensive weapon. But this is a guy who I think you could already make the case has a chance better than anyone to be a Hall of Fame talent in Penei Sewell that, again, we haven't seen an offensive lineman prospect like this in some time. What are your thoughts on the Bengals going this route? I know that Lyle's been talking about this in weeks past. You've been analyzing this a lot, and you thought this was the direction they'd eventually go as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was probably the most uncertain pick of the first round. We sort of knew how the first 4 picks would play out. And it was really this number 5 pick where the Bengals had options, right? And I think what was really telling is when the Eagles traded down from number 6, down 6 picks to number 12. And we know that the Eagles are really high on Jamar Chase in the beginning. And the fact that I think they probably realized that Jamar Chase was going to be the pick at number 5. And so they realized they weren't going to get him. And so they traded down 6 picks and in hopes to probably either land a top cornerback prospect or a top wide receiver prospect. And so I think it sort of it makes me realize that the teams are more in sync than we realize. And so I mean, I'm not necessarily in agreement with this pick. I think you probably want to protect your quarterback here, but maybe we'll see a trade up for the Bengals for one of the top offensive line prospects because they certainly need to address that position.
Well, here's my 2 cents on it, and I think I've said this on one of our shows, but if Joe wants a Bayou Bengal on the outside so bad, why don't they just hope Terrace Marshall falls to the 2nd round and still take Sewell with this pick? I mean, again, I know Chase is an unreal talent, but I still think this is mind-boggling because they have not improved that offensive line at all.
Right. So I will ask this to you, Cole. With Sewell now not going to the Bengals, who we all thought, would be the fit, who do you think either trades up to get him, or where do you think Penei Sewell can fall now in this draft?
Well, I think it's more likely that with this next pick, we'll see how it plays out. But I think there's a great chance that Miami could pick Sewell as well because offensive line is definitely a position they need to address. And also they added wide receiver depth this offseason with Will Fuller. Obviously, they handed Devontae Parker that big contract a season ago as well. So I think we could see one of the top offensive lineman prospects drafted here. So I mean, we'll just have to see. But I think Sewell should have been the pick at number 5, and I think he'll be snatched up pretty quick here.
I'm going to jump in really quickly here with another stat for you guys. With the Bengals drafting Joe Burrow last year and Jamar Chase this year, it's the first time in the common draft era that a team has ever used first-round picks, back-to-back first-round picks, on a quarterback wide receiver duo that played together in college.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, they're obviously betting on that chemistry translating at the professional level as well.
Yeah, go ahead, Cole.
I'm just wondering for fantasy next season, what are people going to do with their T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd shares? Because I personally was a big fan of T. Higgins this season, but now with Chase in the mix, I'm not sure I'll be drafting him all that high anymore.
He's always looking forward, Cole, from the draft to the fantasy real quick.
Always trying to get a leg up.
Yeah.
They have a graphic on the screen right now. Burrow and Jamar Chase at LSU, 26 games. 107 catches for Jamar Chase, 2,100 yards, and 23 touchdowns. That'll work. That'll play. So that's interesting. So yeah, the Dolphins now a pick at 6. That's going to be interesting to see what they go. Do you guys have any questions for Cole before the Dolphins make this selection?
Yeah,
I'll keep them on during the Dolphins pick if we guys want.
For sure. We'll keep him on for the Dolphins pick, and see if our man Seb, who is a Lions fan, wants to hop on. So, Cole, I'll kick it off to you because we do this before every pick. Who do you think the selection is going to be here at number 6? Not necessarily what do you think happens, or I guess what do you think should happen? What do you think is going to be the selection?
I mean, ever since they traded, down and then back up to number 6, I always thought that they were going to select an offensive lineman. I think they were going to wait on a wide receiver in the pick or in the draft, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of Tua's old teammates here. I think there's a high possibility it could be Smith or it could be Jalen Waddle here. But I just think your quarterback has to have time to throw, and just beefing up that offensive lineman here would be the best case scenario for them. So I would love to see Slater or Sewell's name be called here. And also, I'm not sure if Miami was betting on them getting Chase after they traded up anyway. So I think after seeing the Eagles trade down and the Dolphins trade back up, I think Miami traded up knowing that Jamar Chase was going to be picked before them.
Well, the pick's in, so I don't know how far back you guys are. So
wow.
Tua reunites with one of his teammates, and it's Jalen Waddle, the speedster. So,
wow.
Again, the Dolphins, we assumed, even when the Dolphins were picking at 3, we assumed that they were going to go Jamar Chase at 3, but we all knew all along that wide receiver was kind of the way to go. But Jalen Waddle, again, this is a guy where a lot of people have said he's the number 1 wide receiver in this class. I had Jamar Chase over him, but Waddle's a talent, no doubt. And Tua gets a really good wide receiver now. So, just like that, back-to-back wide receivers off the board, and I guess with Kyle Pitts, 3 pass catchers off the board. So this draft's kind of interesting so far. So right now, pick 7, Penei Sewell, Justin Fields, they're still sitting on the board.
I will say this. Our friend and Dolphins fanatic Brady Vernon called this, that it would be Waddle. He said today, not only will it be Waddle, but he thinks Waddle's the best fit for this team as a whole. And I think it's because of his home run speed, and you compare him with Will Fuller, and that's going to be a pretty good dynamic threat when you get Tua some time to chuck it deep. So, yeah, I think Sewell would have made sense here for sure, like Cole talked about, but I'm not that shocked they went with Waddle here at 6.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, I mean, let's say the roles were reversed last year and Devontae Smith would have gotten injured like 3 games into the season and Jalen Waddle would have been healthy. Jalen Waddle could have been the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, he would have put up pretty similar numbers to what Devontae Smith did, maybe even more. I mean, last year in his limited sample size, his numbers were incredible. So Jalen Waddle, don't forget that this is a guy where I know a lot of people talk about Devontae Smith winning the Heisman. Jalen Waddle, he could have made a case had the roles been reversed. So what a pick. Cole, before we let you go, any parting hot takes you have, anything you want to say? Again, I asked you earlier, like a player's tape you liked, any like predictions you want to make that if you're completely right, we can throw on Twitter and make you look like a genius?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that this draft is shaping up, we're going to see a cornerback picked by the Eagles at number 12 because wide receivers have been linked to them all throughout the draft process, but it's apparent that they're flying off the board early. And so I think the Eagles traded down knowing that, and we're going to see a sort of a surprise pick at number 12. They're going to opt to beef up their secondary with one of the top cornerbacks, either J.C. Horn or maybe we see my guy Greg Newsome. Who knows?
Last question for you, Cole, before we let you hop off. Pick 3, Trey Lance. We didn't let you get a chance to talk about that.
Yeah, I certainly hoped it would be Justin Fields. I've been sort of like a white knight defender of Fields throughout this draft process. I wasn't high on him early, and then he sort of grew on me. But I think Shanahan really liked Trey Lance's his poise and also his intelligence. I think intelligence at the position is what Shanahan really values in a quarterback. We've seen that in the 49ers being linked to Mac Jones and also Kirk Cousins in the past. So I think Shanahan is betting that he can hone in those accuracy issues with Lance, and obviously they've got so many playmakers on the offense that you hope that that experience in that aerial attack will help Lance's development.
I like it. So our man Cole, again, let me see if I still have the graphic right here. You guys can go follow him on Twitter at Ham Analysis. This guy is the absolute best when it comes to draft content. He ain't a draft expert like Josh. He ain't a draft analyst like Lyle. So I won't put him over that board, but this guy knows his stuff. So my man, thank you for coming on the show. We enjoyed talking football with you. Continue to enjoy your time at ASU, and definitely, sometime in the near future, we'd love to have you back on and talk some more college football content.
Yeah, guys, of course. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Cole. We appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks, Cole. Appreciate it.
Thanks, my man.
He knows a hell of a lot more than I do.
I was gonna say I told you guys he's a smart kid. Like he really knows his stuff. Yeah. So I'm glad we got him on.
You ain't no draft expert or draft analyst like the two of you. I will say that. Those are your given titles. All right, guys. So the draft so far.
Really quickly, I was just dropping something off. Cole and I talked a bit last year, right before when I was out at the combine, and even at that level of stuff, he's on it. Like he's just locked in. So he's a good guy to be a friend of the show for sure.
Mm-hmm. There you go. All right, guys. So right now, Lions, it says the pick's in. Where do you see the Lions go? There are talks that they can go quarterback here. They can get someone that sits behind Jared Goff for a few years, or they can go wide receiver because they have absolutely none currently with them. They could go offensive line. This is, I think, a really intriguing pick because I could see them going 3 or 4 different positions so far.
Well, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say right here, I don't remember what everybody else had. This is where I had Waddle going. Sewell at 5, Jamar Chase at 6, and Waddle at 7. And I think it's worth keeping in mind that both Marvin Jones Jr. and Kenny Golladay are gone. Obviously, they're not going to reach for a quarterback right after acquiring Jared Goff, which they had been linked to a little bit. I don't think it's worth going after a quarterback. So I don't know. I think they could go wide receiver here, but how far are we actually going to see Penei Sewell fall?
I don't think he gets past 8. I mean, the Panthers really need an offensive lineman. So I think if Sewell's sitting there at 8 for Carolina, I think he goes to the Panthers, which I'm sure Sam Darnold would jump out of his seat for to get Penei Sewell on his team. I would not be shocked to see Fields go here at 7, just because there's been such a run of receivers off the board. it could be Smith here because the Lions do need a receiver. It could be Devontae Smith. I just would not be shocked to see the Lions take a quarterback because Goff will probably be the guy this year. I'm just curious if they believe that's the fit long term, especially with a guy like Fields still on the board.
If I'm the Chargers, I'm trying to get Sewell, man. You're only I think they're at pick 13, so you're not having them leapfrog too many. Again, like I said, that defense is really good. They just had a lot of injuries last year. Offensively, I think maybe they can use another receiver and they'll be fine. But reunite Herbert with Penei Sewell, I think that'd be great. But again, the Lions is going to be interesting right here. Our friend Seb is on standby, I'm sure, and Goodell's coming to make the pick. So let's see what direction the Detroit Lions go.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
Do the thing.
And there it is.
Do it.
Now, I will say this.
Instead of saying, and there it is, Blake, we don't know what's going on. So you're just like,
we literally just talked about this a few minutes ago.
So I will say this. Out of all the mock drafts I did and everything and all the different ways I went, I never once had the Lions going with an offensive lineman here. Now, granted, when you're getting a guy like Penei Sewell, he's hard to pass up. But in every mock I did or anything, I thought it was either going to be wide receiver or one of the quarterbacks that was still available. And they go with Penei Sewell, which, again, it's a good pick. It's a really good pick. But if you're the Lions and you're a ways away, I don't know. I would have gone a different direction that way, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on them taking Penei Sewell there at 7.
I think it's a great pick. I think if he falls that far, I think you got to take him. And especially given, again, we've talked about this 100 times. I mean, this is a really deep class of wide receivers. So depending on where else who's available with their other picks, I think you can take a wide receiver in the second or third round too and still get a solid wide receiver, even with the fact that you're losing two guys in Marvin Jones Jr. and Kenny Golladay. But I think it's crazy that Penei Sewell has fallen this far. And if he's available after 5, then go for it.
I don't know if you guys just saw that, if you guys were watching when they cut to the shot of Penei Sewell in his house. Did you guys see the guy on the couch in like the Normatec, like the leg sleeves?
I missed it.
Chilling on the left side. It's funny. I mean, I was doing those earlier today, but they're awesome. But he's just like chilling there. Like you can't move in them. So like, why would you be wearing those right now at the draft? Like he's just like recovering in compression leg sleeves. Like he can't move. That was awesome.
Can we just talk about this though? The fact that, again, this is a guy where I said if I was a team in desperate need. Also, they're showing the Lions room going absolutely nuts, and I don't blame them. This was a guy where I said if you don't need a quarterback, I would have no problem taking Penei Sewell at number 1 or number 2, and you're over here getting him at number 7, where, again, in most drafts, this would be a guy that goes easily top 3, and you're getting him at number 7. So, again, it's an absolute steal. I'm just shocked they didn't go quarterback or wide receiver. But, again, it makes sense because Penei Sewell, you can make the case, is number 1 or number 2 best overall prospect in this entire class.
Yeah, I think of anybody in this draft class, if you're talking about best chance to go to the Hall of Fame, it's probably Penei Sewell. And I know that's a lofty thing to predict, but this guy has a chance to be a perennial All-Pro. And I think for the Lions, look, you want to protect Jared Goff, maybe you want to get pieces on offense in the future. You get a left tackle that is nailed down and solidified. That's a pretty good pick. It feels like they kind of went best player available. That's a really good best player available.
Yeah.
That's the number 1 overall best player available at number 7, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, so we get to pick number 8 now, and again, I know that there were some rumors. They're like, I think the Panthers. I don't know if it was the Panthers that said this or one of the reporters that said it, that the Panthers could still go quarterback here. I get they didn't give up a lot to acquire Sam Darnold from a player of his caliber. But if you're the Panthers, you want to see what you got in Sam Darnold this year. You want to see if he's going to be the guy that can be your future quarterback. Because I believe he's only signed for 1 more year. So I can't see them going quarterback here. It makes no sense. The fact that there's 1 minute left on the clock and the pick still isn't in, my guess is that there are teams that are calling right now saying, what is it going to take to get to 8? So obviously that might be happening. All right, guys. So Panthers now at 8. Again, they went all defense last year. I don't see them going defense here. They have a really good wide receiving core already. What direction do you think they go here with pick number 8?
Well, I think going back to what Cole said, he said his prediction is that with so many wide receivers going here, he thinks that you're going to get a defensive back at 12. I think there's a chance you could get 2 defensive backs between 8 and 12, and I think the first opportunity is right here. Obviously, they're no longer in need for a quarterback with the Darnold trade, like you just said. They could really use some help in the secondary. I could see them try to go for a guy like Surtain. Maybe 8's a little high at this point, given how the draft has been playing out. But I don't know. I mean, you could give Sam Darnold another offensive weapon if you want to go for Devontae Smith or somebody like that. But I actually could see him go defense here.
I think it's either going to be Justin Fields, so they go either quarterback, or Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman, because I think offensive lineman is a need. Corner is certainly a need, so a guy like Surtain would be possible. But if I had to pick between 2 areas, I think it's either quarterback or offensive line.
I like the Slater pick. In a lot of drafts, he'd be the best offensive lineman on the board. A lot of people, as we've said in shows past, actually had him above Penei Sewell. I mean, this is a Panthers team where I think they have a chance to be solid. I'm not saying Sam Darnold's going to be going to the Pro Bowl next year, but I think I can easily guarantee he's going to be a lot better than he was in New York under Adam Gase with Jamison Crowder as wide receiver 1. So I think the Panthers have a chance to be an exciting team next year. Obviously, you have Christian McCaffrey, who I'm sure Sam Darnold is eager to upgrade from LaMichael Pirine and Frank Gore to Christian McCaffrey. And again, this is a Panthers team where they used every pick last year on defense. So this defense is getting better. I like it, though. I think Rashawn Slater, I think it's the smart pick. I don't know. Justin Fields is the lone case I can see them going. Obviously not Mac Jones. Maybe Justin Fields, just because, again, we all kind of agree that he's quarterback 2 in this class. And Sam Darnold is only available for 1 year. So if Sam Darnold, kind of sucks this year and it turns out he wasn't just bad under Adam Gase, he's not an NFL caliber quarterback. Now at least you have Justin Fields moving forward.
Yeah, and I've just seen a lot of links to Fields to the Panthers over the offseason with all the draft speculation. So I wouldn't be shocked if it happens, but we'll have to see. Guys, I formulated a take while we're waiting for the Panthers to make this pick. Just going back to the Bengals for a second, just because I'm still mind-boggled about this whole pick. I've got a take here. Joe Burrow's going to get knocked around again. He won't get hurt, like, seriously. Oh, and I'm going to save it because Goodell's coming up to the podium.
Oh, good.
Do the thing. And don't spoil it.
Holy crap. Holy
wow.
crap. Well,
hang on. They took J.C. Horn, for the people not watching live. The Panthers took J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina. Wow.
So a lot of things to digest here. One, most people just assume that Patrick Surtain was going to be cornerback 1 off the board. So I guess if you're the Cowboys, you're probably thinking, thank God we're chilling here. We still get Surtain. So J.C. Horn comes out of nowhere from South Carolina. Again, people thought he'd be a top 15 pick. I don't know about him going number 8 to Carolina, first cornerback off the board. But the Panthers, you just passed up a really good offensive lineman. You passed up a really good quarterback, and you go corner. Again, I don't have their entire depth chart in front of me, so I don't know how much of a need cornerback was.
They had a great young corner this last year in Jeremy Chin, who they got in the 2nd or 3rd round from last year. So, if you're going to go with a young secondary, you go with a young secondary.
Right. So, wow. How do you guys like it?
I'm surprised, and like I just said, I could see them going secondary. So, in regards to my mock position wise, I'm looking pretty good up to this point, minus the Sewell one. But yeah, I did not think that Horn would be hopping over Surtain. We had our resident Chargers fan in our group chat today say that Horn over Surtain, and I laughed when I saw that, and here we are. That kid also called his shot on a home run in person before. Could not believe it. He said next pitch home run to the guy in the yellow in left field. Next pitch. Hand to God. So
wow,
the kid has a way with words.
Lyle, how does Josh's audio sound to you? Because his thing seems kind of like crackly, at least on my end. I want to know if it's just me or if it's...
Yeah, it's a little bit. Maybe just try unplugging your mic and plugging it back in, Josh. It's not awful. I can just tell a little bit. While Josh is doing that, yeah, I mean, look, Josh called it. He said just a couple minutes ago they're going defensive back here. I just thought if they went DB, it was going to be Surtain. But look, when you look at the Panthers' depth chart for this year, Their corners are Dante Jackson and Troy Pride Jr. Neither guy is really a lockdown corner, and they feel like Horn can be that clearly because he's physical, he's lengthy. I mean, he's kind of a prototypical modern day corner, and we'll have to see if it pays off. I will say though, Denver has to be jumping out of their seats now that Justin Fields is here at 9. I would think that's a slam dunk pick here.
You would think. I mean, you would absolutely think. But again, the fact that you can't read too much into this, which, I mean, anything could be happening. But if you're thinking they're going Justin Fields and they're thinking, man, if he falls to us to 9, we're going to slam this in. There's still 4 minutes left on the clock. So they didn't necessarily – I mean, we've seen some teams with 6 minutes left. They phoned it in. They've been ready to go. There's 4 minutes. They might be taking this down. So I wouldn't be shocked if right now teams like Washington, teams like New England, teams like Vegas, if they're calling the Broncos right now and they're saying, what do you want? Because, again, this seems like a slam dunk easy pick for Justin Fields. So the Broncos at 9. And there's 3.5 minutes. And they're still sitting there on the clock. So I definitely think that's something to monitor. But let's just say they don't go Justin Fields, guys, here at number 9. Where do you think the Broncos might go with this pick?
Well, again, it feels like quarterback is such an area of need. Otherwise, maybe Micah Parsons. I know they need a linebacker. I could see that.
What about you, Brady? You look like you're pretty hungover on those peanut butter pretzels there.
No, I'm just sort of up running around and doing a bunch of stuff around my apartment while this goes on. Yeah. Are we talking previous or next pick?
We're talking if they don't go Fields, where could you see them potentially going with this number 9 pick?
I don't know. I think Fields is their guy, especially how hard they were trying to go after, or they were lobbying for at least a guy like Deshaun Watson. So I think Deshaun Watson's not going anywhere, and the rumor on the street is the one place Rodgers wants to go potentially is Denver. So I think you got to weigh all those options, and I'm guessing Denver has been making calls, not getting calls about the Aaron Rodgers scenario. So I think this is a big thing for them is how they're gauging the whole Rodgers scenario, and if it is an actual possibility, I think you have to get some help for Aaron Rodgers. So you go with a best available, whether it be a receiver or an offensive lineman. Jordan Kuiper's draft notebook. I don't have this year's. Last year's and 2 years ago are in the closet. Sorry, Big J.
What was I going to say? Oh. Well, while we're waiting now I'll formulate this take I have about Cincinnati very quickly, because since they have not taken an offensive lineman, they have not upgraded their O-line at all this offseason. So I feel like Joe Burrow is still going to get sacked a decent amount. Because of that, the Bengals won't win a lot of games. Zach Taylor probably loses his job after this year. And here's my prediction. Who do you think's coming in to replace him? Joe Brady. They're just turning it into Bayou North up there. So they went Joe Burrow, they went Jamar Chase. Next year they're going to get Joe Brady, and they're just going to hope, let's turn that national championship into a Super Bowl.
I like it. Lyle has some hot takes, but a lot of the times they make a lot of sense. Guys, again, going back to the clock, there's now a minute left on the clock for the Broncos. If it was an easy Justin Fields pick, they very well could still take him, but they're fielding offers right now, I think. They're taking this down to the final second. A team to keep an eye on, we talked about this before the show, the Saints said they're trying to get into the top 10 for either a top cornerback or for Mac Jones. Well, Patrick Surtain, who a lot of people thought was the top cornerback, he's still available. Mac Jones, he's still available. So I think it's too late for a trade right now, but definitely keep an eye on the Saints. And again, 30 seconds left. Josh, I don't know if we got your call because I know you had your camera off. You were going somewhere. If the Broncos, who by the way the pick is officially in, if they don't go with Justin Fields, who do you think you could potentially see them taking?
I think they go with Mac Jones. Is my audio fine?
No, it's still a little staticky or whatnot. So
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, that's okay, dog.
It's all right. Yeah, I think it's Fields or Parsons. If it's not a quarterback, I think it's Parsons.
Yeah, that'd be a good one as well. So once the Broncos make their pick, we're actually going to be bringing on Wicked Bronco, who's donating a lot of the super chat during the show. And we're going to be getting his immediate takeaway because he is a Broncos fan. So wherever direction they go, we're going to get into Broncos fan immediate takeaways. And again, if you guys would like to hop on the show at some point, give your reaction to your favorite team selection, hit me up on Twitter at Blake H. Harris. We'll figure out if there's a way to get you on the show. We've already had a few fans talk about their teams. We have some fans queued for later in the show when their team picks. So again, if you'd like to hop on the show, give a 30, 45-second brief takeaway. We'd love to have you guys on, hear your different takes, because it's cool hearing a fan's perspective on a certain pick. Whereas, like I said, Costa earlier, he wasn't, I think, a huge fan of Kyle Pitts, but for the most part, it is what it is. So again, hit me up on Twitter at Blake H. Harris if you have any interest at all. And so we'll just see who the Broncos take, guys. Final guess.
Fields.
Also, Jordan, I just went to look for my draft notebook and I couldn't find it, so it must be at my house. I'm at the apartment, so it's a shame.
I want to be one of these fans in Goodell's chair.
They should give them all like a. Bum 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 bada bum bum bum.
What the hell is happening here? Well,
give context, Blake.
They have selected Patrick Surtain. The Broncos go corner at 9. Again, wow.
All right, so I'm just going to quickly send this to our man Fravel, just so we could get his immediate takeaway from a Broncos fan perspective. But things are interesting now, and we just lost Josh. If for the Cowboys, because Cowboys, it seemed like cornerback was the surefire pick. I like Surtain there. I told MJ, I said they're going Patrick Surtain no matter what. The Broncos, they don't go with him there. Again, we're going to wait for Fravel to join. That way we can hear his thoughts as a Broncos fan and then talk about this moving forward. But, guys, while we wait for him to join, Lyle, I'll go to you. Just immediate takeaway from this pick.
Well, when you look at the Broncos corners currently, it's Kyle Fuller, Duke Dawson, and Ronald Darby. So it is an area of need. I'm just surprised that they're not going with Fields here. Again, the fact that Fields continues to fall just seems crazy to me. Like I can't figure out what teams don't like about this guy. But in terms of the Broncos, they have in the past been known for their really good defenses, and clearly that's what they're trying to build up here with the pick like Surtain, who's a lockdown corner.
All right, so we got our man Ryan Fravel on. We got his immediate reaction right now. Ryan, we got about 1 minute before we go on to the next one. But you're a Broncos fan. You've been hoping for Justin Fields. You guys just went Surtain. Let's hear your immediate reaction to the pick.
Well, I can understand the pick, obviously, because we do have Kyle Fuller, and he's only a 1-year deal. He's a great player, but he's only on that 1-year deal. He's getting up there in age. Bryce Callahan is also 29 years old, so he's also getting up there in age. But we have also a good young guy, Michael Ojemudia, who got thrown into the fire this year as a rookie, who played pretty well. So, I mean, I like the pick. I like Surtain. But it makes me upset because I wanted Fields so bad. I was a guy that wasn't very high on Fields because of the early season performances. I mean, the 7 interceptions in 2 games really bothered me. But then I started falling in love with him as the season went on. And yeah, it's very disappointing. I mean, I really wanted Fields, but hey, Surtain's a guy that's probably going to get some playing time, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you also are pretty much getting who a lot of people thought was the #1 corner in the draft. So it is not a total loss. So I guess just before you go, A, B, C, D, F, what grade would you give this pick for the Broncos?
I'd say it's a B+, because it does worry me why Horn went ahead of Surtain, like what Carolina saw in Horn that they didn't see in Surtain. But that's the only reason it would be a B+ for me. Otherwise, I love the pick.
All right. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you hopping on. Sorry it wasn't Fields. But again, you get a really good corner. We appreciate all the super chats. We look forward to hoping you're going to stay in the chat with us for throughout the rest of the show. And again, sorry about Fields. But again, you're still getting a really good cornerback. So best of luck to your Broncos. And again, maybe they'll still trade for Deshaun. So maybe you still have that. But as always, we really appreciate the time. And again, we'll be talking to you still in the chat throughout the rest of the show.
All right, man. Well, I just want to say one more thing. Go Irish. And me and my boy Lyle ride or die till the end. So, all right. Bye.
Go Irish.
All right.
Yeah, go Irish.
Later, Ryan.
How's
All
my
right,
audio
okay,
doing? Are we better?
Oh, sounds good.
All right, you're sounding good right now. All right, boys, I'm going to step away really quickly so you guys can partake in.
That's
your
fine.
conversation.
I was just gonna say this is the perfect time we should bring in a short round question if he has anything.
Yeah, and hey, if he thinks of one, I've got to say this. 2 years ago, when DK Metcalf got drafted, he wore that shirt that says "should have never passed." I was saying to a couple of my friends around here this week that DK should give Fields that shirt. Fields should be wearing that shirt as he goes up to the podium whenever he gets taken. Because again, the fact that he's still here at 10 just seems crazy to me, personally. That's just me.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. And you
are
look
we
at
getting
now
a
is
trade?
what team needs a quarterback at this point?
So the Cowboys have just traded their pick to the Eagles. So
12 to 10.
So they're moving from 12 to 10, and this is something that Cole talked about when he was with us a couple minutes ago. He said that he saw Philly taking a corner. Oh, that sounds like Peely. He
sure
said
is.
that, yes. He said that he predicts Philly taking a corner at 12 or a DB at 12, to be more specific. But now I think it kind of throws a wrench in there, and who knows at this point? Is Philly moving up because they have somebody in mind? Because I would guess.
I have a guess.
Okay,
I have
go
a
ahead.
guess.
I do too.
I think it might be for Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
Because I could have seen the Giants going there at 11. So the Eagles are now on the clock. I was gone, so I assume there's no. They haven't shown what the trade was yet. We don't know what the package was.
Not yet.
For its first and third round pick
Okay, so they're moving. I mean,
This
the Cowboys
year?
only.
this year.
So they're
Okay,
just
so
moving
you-
back 2 spots.
Yep.
So they're moving back 2 spots. So if you're the Eagles, yeah, my guess is going to be Devontae Smith. I think Lyle just said Devontae Smith. Brady, Josh, who do you project the pick to be right here at number 10?
Devontae as well.
Given that we've had these 2 wide receivers already off the board, and I even had Devontae Smith going to the Eagles at 12 anyway. Given that there's already 2 off the board before we even got to 10, I think it makes sense for Philly to trade up at this point just to get Devontae Smith.
Especially you're only really giving up a third rounder. And when you can get a guy like Devontae Smith, I definitely think it's worth it. So I've been going back and forth with our Washington football team fan. I know he's been going back and forth with Lyle as well. Assuming they don't go Fields here, I do want to bring him on because things are getting interesting now. The fact that Fields is likely going to slip to 11. I want to hear a Washington football fans' perspective on him falling and what he would like to see potentially a trade happen to go because, there were talks moving up from 19 to 4 to 5. That was kind of hefty. If you're going from 19 to 11, that price isn't going to be as steep. So we're going to bring him on after the Eagles make this pick. So I think for the most part, we all can kind of agree Devontae Smith. If for whatever reason they don't go Devontae Smith, they go a different direction. I don't see them going quarterback because, again, they have Jalen Hurts, so I think they want to roll out. What other direction do you think the Eagles might go here, guys?
I think it would be Fields if anybody else. That's just
Really?
my guess. Yeah. Just
Sorry,
'cause, again.
Wait, you lagged a little bit for me. Who'd you say?
Oh, sorry. I said I think it would be Fields if it was anybody, just because
The
they
Eagles?
did. Yeah, just because again, Hurts was fine last year, but they did take a second rounder on him, and if he has a bad year this year, hypothetically, they don't really have anybody behind him. So I'm not saying that's my number one guess. My number one guess is Smith, but if I had to make another prediction, I would honestly say Justin Fields.
Yeah, so it is going to be interesting for the Cowboys. So they are at 12 now. I know Cole, he was saying, Newsome from Northwestern, he could see him going. It's the Cow. I mean, this is kind of like the whole thing in draft day where the Jaguars got kind of shafted all over the board about how they were expecting certain players and those went off the board. The Cowboys, they were probably thinking Surtain is likely going to be there at 10. If he's not, we're probably going to go with J.C. Horn. I want to know what's going on in the Cowboys draft room because I don't think they could have.
It looked like nothing when they did the live
Really?
shot. It looked like there was literally nothing going on.
Because there's no way they could have seen J.C. Horn and Surtain going before they were picking at 10. There were a lot of reports that came out saying this could be the first draft since I forget how many years that a defensive player doesn't go in the top 10. So they got to be flustered. I wouldn't be shocked if they trade out at 12 because I don't know if they would necessarily want to reach for Newsome at 12 there. But
yeah, they have a glaring need for a DB. Like they need one.
And
they
again,
need a defensive back.
So again, picking here at 10, Devontae Smith still on the board, Rashawn Slater still on the board, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, There are some talented guys. Micah Parsons. Things are interesting. It'll be interesting, though. But again, I think it's going to be Devontae Smith here. But I guess we'll find out within 30 seconds.
This is a friendly reminder to everybody that the Eagles' current receiving core could be DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson. Instead, it's JJ Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor.
And they have a former quarterback catching passes.
Yes.
They
my,
do.
My final prediction is Smith here. I think it's a almost lock at this point.
Yeah, because again, especially with the Giants behind them, a division opponent, and Goodell's coming out right now. So let's get this bad boy in. I still want to sit in this chair. Brady, knowing you, this would have been the kind of thing where if you were covering the draft this year, you would have definitely sent a photo of you somehow in the chair, somehow pulling it off.
100%. It popped up on my time hop like 3 years ago. I was in like Goodell's backstage suite.
Here we go.
And what about Jerry Jones's ID, though?
It's a different story.
What jersey was she wearing? Okay.
Is Devontae Smith wearing the? What is he wearing?
Devontae Smith.
What?
He's got.
Looks like he's just wearing a suit jacket.
No, it's like a robe or something.
No. Okay, but he's got his initials on the jacket, but I guess you tie it like it's a robe at the bottom. Yeah, that's an interesting look. I kind of like it, though.
Was that Mac Jones?
So, can we normalize this, please? Can we normalize that? Oh, I will show up to broadcasts dressed like that.
That's pretty sick. Attaboy, Devontae.
I also like how, I don't know if you guys noticed this earlier, but every time the Bama guys have been drafted, they've all come out of their little pods to say,
Yeah.
say congrats.
That's cool. So Devontae Smith, he goes there, number 10. Again, we're going to have our Washington football team fan on just because I want to hear his thoughts on how this is going so far. Because obviously the Giants, they're not taking quarterback here. Obviously Dallas isn't going quarterback. Obviously the Chargers aren't going quarterback. So unless someone's trading up, they're going to keep falling. But I just want to say this is a fantastic, fantastic addition for Philadelphia because, as Lyle said, well, who they could have had, but two, their current wide receiving core is near the bottom in regards to any team in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, we were talking about the Eagles?
Yes.
Yeah, Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, again, and it's not even that you're taking a good receiver here. You're taking the Heisman Trophy winner. Is that me?
I
can
so.
hear it. I can hear it, so it can't be me, right?
Who knows? You're good now.
Anyway, it's not even that it's a good wide receiver. It was, as Drew said, one of the most explosive players he's ever seen in person, who just dominated the SEC last year. And again, like he said, in that national championship game, he would have shattered every record if he didn't get injured. And not only that, but this is the Heisman Trophy winner who's not even the top wide receiver off the board. So I think it already improves the wide receiving core. I think it's a great pick if you're getting the Heisman Trophy winner as the third receiver off the board. It's a good pick. I'm just interested to see now what Dallas is going to try to do after trading back.
Well, because like I said, I think they trade back again because I think they were set on cornerback. That just made too much sense. So I don't know what they're going to do with 12 again, unless they want to reach for Newsome. But all right, so the Giants now, they're picking at 11. You can make the case that, again, had Devontae Smith been there, I think they would have gone that route. But with the addition of Kenny Golladay this offseason, I don't think necessarily wide receiver. Also, there's a trade alert right now presented by Subway, and the Giants have officially traded the pick. It better be to the Saints, and it's to the Bears. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Oh, my God. The Bears were going to get their quarterback.
Oh, no. Where's Sean? Where's Sean when you need him?
Wait, God. No, guys. If they trade up for Mac Jones over Fields, wow, is all I would have to say.
So the Bears are picking at 11 now. This has to be Justin Fields, guys.
It has to be.
It has to be Justin Fields.
Oh my God!
So what is Sean?
So what's the trade then?
Oh, here he is. Here he is, right here.
Oh, let's bring him in.
What up, Sean?
Doubles.
Buddy.
I'm so mad. I'm so upset.
This poor guy.
Why did I jump now?
So for those of you who don't know, this is our buddy Sean.
Hello, everybody.
He's our
I guess
resident
Schefter-
Washington FC fan.
Schefter's reading the tweet. So Brady, whenever I know you're our executive producer, whenever you get what the tweet or the trade details
got it.
are. All right, let's hear what the trade details are.
Giants return from Chicago for number 11 pick is next year's first, the 5th this year, and the 4th next year.
Interesting.
All right, so that's a pretty solid haul. So Sean, there is a chance they don't go with Fields here, but considering it was a first next year, and then I heard like a 5th, so it's all relevant stuff. That's what it would have
Hang on,
been.
that tweet has since been deleted.
Oh, I mean, here's the thing. Knowing Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, this could very well be for Mac Jones.
So, I mean, Mac Jones is not crying. They just showed him in the green room. I don't think it's going to be him. Justin Fields is not on his couch.
Yeah, they're
He just
showing
got
it
off the
right now.
phone.
He just got off the phone, it looks like.
And Fields' living room is empty.
If I can find my remote, I think someone in the Fields party was just wearing they were wearing an orange hat.
Yes, they
It's,
are.
it's Justin Fields. It's no question.
So, Sean, hearing what the supposed trade was, would you have done that if you were the Washington football team?
I mean, yeah. The offer that I proposed before the draft, it was to actually a higher pick. It was first this year, first next year, and a third round this year, because there's 2 firsts that Washington has due to the Trent Williams trade. I think first this year, first next year, a 5th round pick this year, and a 4th round pick next year. That's just one extra mid-round pick. Those guys are usually solid depth positions and depth players that you're having in your roster, but to get a franchise quarterback, that's absolutely worth it. The Bears were, I'm going to be honest, the Bears were the team that scared me more than anybody when it came to a team taking a quarterback that was desperate for it. Even more so than the Patriots and jumping up, because the Bears, again, their entire front office is on the thinnest ice, like Michigan has ever seen. If Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy don't hit with Justin Fields, they're both gone. And to be honest, they can make this trade because it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out. It's not their picks anymore anyway. They're not employed.
Well, I will say this, Doug. Unfortunately, I did not hear a single word you just said because I think there's something wrong with your audio. So I'm going to let you go right now. Hopefully there's something like just re-exit, and then whenever the Washington football team is up close, we'll get you on again. But oh wait, the pick's about to be in, so I will mute you right now, and I want to get your reaction, and then we'll get you back on when you can fix your reaction. So we will throw this in real quickly.
No, they're talking about COVID.
So guys, I'll keep Sean on mute just because he'll figure out his audio. Around the board, prediction, Fields.
It has to be.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Fields.
Yeah, in a Henry voice, hold the audio.
Holy curve.
Sean, I'm sure you had some great takes, but yeah, we'll reset it, then we'll get you back on Washington's picking. Oh, but if they say Mac Jones right now, I do want to see Sean's reaction.
If they say Mac Jones, I would very strongly expect Washington to trade up.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, if they take Mac Jones right here, I think they got to trade up, right?
They have to trade up.
Or the Saints. I mean, the Saints literally said they want to trade into the top 10 for Mac Jones, and he's still sitting there.
Yeah, true.
Right, so this guy's going to be making the pick 10 years later.
Here we go. Don't spoil it, Blake.
Kellen Mond.
No, it's in.
Well, there it is.
We are sorry, Sean.
Justin Fields at 11 for those who are listening.
So Sean, drink up, but Mac Jones.
Kellen
still
Mond is still available.
Sean, we'll let you fix your audio, and if Washington's still on the clock in a few picks, we'll get you on soon. But I don't know what was up with your audio, but we send our condolences, dog. You will not be jumping out of a plane after all. So we'll be talking to our man Sean very soon. But guys, the Chicago Bears, we knew there was talk about them going quarterback. David Mills at number 20. Justin Fields was still sitting there at number 11. He fell to them. They have a starter in Andy Dalton, so I guess the good news is they don't necessarily need Justin Fields to start week 1, so they can kind of build him underneath there a little. But what a pick by the Chicago Bears after Mitchell Trubisky seemed to not go as planned. They now have a pretty good quarterback in Justin Fields.
I like it. I think it's a good pick. And just to confirm real quick, Brady, you had that trade up. To confirm, they are still in possession of this season's 20th overall pick, correct? They traded next year's first round.
They definitely probably just swapped picks this year.
They got rid of 20 next year's first, 5th this year, and 4th next year.
Is that why the tweet was deleted?
Yes.
Oh, because it didn't include this year's 20 in the original tweet, right?
That is true.
Okay, thank you. So they no longer have the 20th pick. I just wanted to confirm that, because then them moving up, if they were able to keep this year's 20th overall pick, I think that changes things too. But ultimately, yeah, I think you're right. I'm surprised that Fields. Part of me is surprised that Fields fell this far, just because, like Lila said a couple times, he's my QB2. But also at the same time, a lot of reports had him falling a little bit. I'm glad he did not fall farther than 11. And if there was a team that was going to trade up, I'm not surprised that it was the Bears too. So sorry to our buddy Sean. Sorry to you, Blake Harris. But mostly to Sean.
I will say this very quickly is, on paper at the moment right now, the Bears did something right. They get him at a great value. They get him at a great pick. They didn't trade up, into the top 5 to go after him. They were waiting for them to fall to a spot they felt comfortable trading, and them trading up to 11 for 20th, I think, is a very reasonable trade for what they did. So for the time being, the Bears did something right.
Yeah, they did. And the other part of this too is Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, their head coach and GM, their jobs are on the line this year. Because, we saw how much they were willing to give up potentially for Russell Wilson when those trade rumors were swirling around. Obviously, in the end, the Seahawks didn't want to move him away. But with Justin Fields falling in this draft, and I think they saw an opportunity of, we need to find a solution to fix this football team and fix this offense. And with a talent like Fields still sitting on the board and now not having to trade up as far, I bet you they pulled the trigger in a heartbeat, because, again, this is my QB2 in this draft. This is Josh's QB2 in this draft. My only concern is Matt Nagy is not the world's greatest play caller, so I hope they find a way to make Fields successful, because in the past, he is, but he is not that much better. But Fields, you know what? Fields is a really good quarterback, like we know, and good quarterbacks can make everybody around them better. So with that, Fields has got a chance to really turn the Bears around. So good for Justin, good for Chicago. And I'm excited to see what he can do, because I'm going to root for him.
So Justin Fields is off the board now, pick 11. So guys, Mac Jones, he's still sitting there. We're at pick 12 right now. I did have to move because my computer was down to 20%, so I'm not in front of the TV. So the Cowboys are on the clock now. Obviously, no Mac Jones there. Corner was where they needed to go. Do they reach for Greg Newsome here out of Northwestern, or do they go somewhere else? Do they trade back again? What in the hell are the Dallas Cowboys going to do right now?
It's a good question. You have to think they're going defense, because we thought they probably shouldn't take CeeDee Lamb last year, but they did it just to build up that offense and make an explosive offense. You would think they have to be going defense, and likely somewhere in their secondary. So yeah, somebody like Newsome or maybe Farley if they're over the injury concerns, but those injuries with Caleb Farley are really concerning. I would have to think it's going to be a corner.
Josh, Brady, any final guesses before the Cowboys make their pick, which, by the way, is in?
I think it has to be a corner. On my board, I had Farley. If I could go back and change, I'd probably take Newsome. I'd value him a little bit more. Again, we talked about the injuries with Farley. I don't know if this is too high to reach for Farley, though. I mean, this is a spot where I could have seen him trade back just a few more picks.
That's what I'm saying too, because they could have gotten Farley or Newsome a few picks later.
How many times? How many times is that going to happen?
What is happening right now?
So I will say this on the last pick, the Bears now have 3 quarterbacks on roster: Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, and now Justin Fields. So they have a quarterback staff, but how good is it?
Right.
Okay, this person has way too much swag.
The guy in the hat?
The long hair, the colorful coat, the hat. Oh, all of it. Looks like Brady when he moved to Texas for 20 minutes.
Yeah, 25 minutes.
Right, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, this is kind of a weird time because usually when we see Goodell walk to the stage, we just wait for him to make the pick. But they're doing one of those announcements, the Draftathon announcements, or one of their charity announcements, which is great. But we're just kind of sitting here like, well, do we keep waiting? Do we talk? You know, do we try and kill more time like I'm doing right now? Oh, here we go.
All right. Woo!
Well, there you have it. Micah Parsons. So Micah Parsons goes number 12. Well, this makes sense with Sean Lee retiring the other day. So they had an open need at linebacker. He's the best linebacker in this draft.
And you pair him with a guy like Leighton Vander Esch. Really good pair.
And Jalen Smith. I was about to say that is a really good linebacking core that they just assembled. I know Jalen Smith had a down year last year, and Vander Esch has battled injuries, but they're all playing at a high level at the same time. The Cowboys are trying to reload that defense. That's a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys, I think they ended up doing fairly well there. So they go Micah Parsons. This is going to be interesting, guys. Also, Bears game fan should feed Montgomery and slowly work Fields into the system as he adjusts to the NFL level. That's true on that. Good pick, just seeing. Parsons would be a bad pick with the money invested at linebacker. Let's see. Dallas and Micah Parsons, not the pick. You will blow this draft. So looks like a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. I think it's a good pick. I think it's a good pick for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Chargers, who are sitting here at pick 13, this seems like the easiest pick of the draft, aside from the first two. It's got to be Rashawn Slater here.
It has to be.
I think, so earlier in the draft, before it started, I would have said it could go defense too, especially if they were going to take a DB. But given that there are so many DBs already off the two top DBs are already off the board, and Sewell fell as far as he did, this gives you a prime opportunity to go out there and take Rashawn Slater. So I think this is a slam dunk pick at this point.
Going to jump in real quickly. Confirmed Trevor Lawrence will be wearing number 16 in Jacksonville. If there was any question or concern, but yeah.
I mean, hey, with the new numbers, he wore 16 in college, so it makes sense. But we'll see. Like, I hope Devontae Smith wears number 6 in Philly. I think that'd be really cool.
That announced today he's going to be wearing 7.
Who did?
Fournette.
Oh, true. Tom Brady is not going to be happy.
Who?
Tom Brady is not going to be happy. Did you see all the complaining he did about the NFL changing the rule with the numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So, again, good pick for the Cowboys. We assume the Chargers go Rashawn Slater. Maybe Christian Darrisaw out, but you think they go offensive line here. So, but again, the fall continues for Mac Jones. Is there any way he gets past the Patriots at 15? Because up next is the Vikings. They're probably going to go offensive line. I think they go quarterback. So at this point, it's either the Patriots sit back, they get a quarterback at 15, they don't have to move, or a team trades up and they get one. Maybe the Washington football team, which we'll have to get our buddy Sean on so he can give his immediate thoughts. But I said this earlier in regards to Mac Jones, where it was kind of like the thing where if he's not taking a 3, he might find himself falling down a lot. And there's a chance he can keep on falling. Like I said, he might not. I don't think he gets past New England, but Mac Jones, he probably came into today thinking he's the number 3 overall pick. Now he's still sitting there at pick 13.
Yeah, I think New England has to make the most sense. Cam Newton had a really tough year last year. They don't have a long-term solution at quarterback. I thought all these quarterbacks would be gone in the first 5 or 6 picks, but Fields went at 11. Jones is still sitting on the board. Yeah, I think if he's sitting at 15, I feel like the Patriots jump on that.
Yeah, it's very interesting because, again, I mentioned the Saints, but if they liked Mac Jones so much they were considering trading into the top 10, you got to wonder if they're talking with teams, asking what they can do to get up there because they obviously like Mac Jones for some reason. But again, this seems like this is going to be a stretch of the draft now where a lot of it seems like it might be chalk. Again, you would think the Chargers, you would think that they have to go offensive line. You would think the Vikings up next, they're going to go offensive line. So if you're watching now on the live stream, we got over 100 of you guys. Hit us up in the chat. Ask us any questions you have in regards to how the draft's gone so far, what's upcoming in the draft. Let us know your takeaways, your hot takes, because like I said, for the most part, unless there's like a trade or something, the next few picks are going to be kind of slow. So we want to interact with you guys, interact with as many comments as you guys have. So again, whether they're questions for what's upcoming, questions on just our opinions, our takeaways from certain things, or any hot takes you have, any bold predictions you have, anything like that, let us know in the chat right now. Darragh McHenry, I think Parsons is a fantastic linebacker, 3 down kind of guy. And he also had another comment saying we are now in Vera Tucker range, which is, again, I think on our show predicted him going to the Vikings.
I think all 4 of us had Elijah Vera Tucker to the Vikings at 14.
So hard to go him here, but again, with I'm drawing a blank. Who's available right now? Slater. With Rashawn Slater on the board, it's tough to see them passing Slater up for Vera Tucker or maybe Darrisaw. But then again, who knows? People have different big boards. Let's see what we got here. Nicholas says they have the Chargers taking Kwity Paye.
That's possible. Somebody opposite Joey Bosa, just because Melvin Ingram's currently a free agent and they have a need there all of a sudden. I will say about offensive line for the Chargers that it would likely be tackle, if anything. I guess Slater can play guard if he ultimately needs to. But I shouldn't say that either, because I guess at left guard at left guard, they're kind of a toss-up, the Chargers. I was just thinking about that they signed Corey Linsley this offseason, and Corey Linsley's the best center in football. So it feels like they patched up their interior a little bit. But, yeah, I think Slater's the guy that makes a lot of sense, especially since he's versatile.
Yeah, and I think if you want somebody who's really versatile, that's when you kind of get into the Vera Tucker range where maybe he can hop over, given that he can either be a tackle or a guard or whatever, and he's really taking charge of SC's O-line. But if you need somebody that's a tackle, I think you go for Slater. Slater's the top offensive lineman on the board right now. At least it seems like that's the consensus for the 4 of us, or the 3 of us without Brady right now. But again, I like Vera Tucker's athleticism and versatility, but I think that's the only way he can climb above Slater right here. So I think, I again, like I said a few minutes ago, I think Slater's a slam dunk pick right here.
Yes, it's the conclusion of the 4 of us, Josh.
Cool.
Michael Williams, should the Bears sit Justin Fields all rookie season since the O-line isn't the best, and they want to develop him and not risk injury?
No.
I mean, maybe to start the year, you let Andy Dalton play 1 or 2 games, but no, not the whole year. I mean, you see this all the time with rookie quarterbacks. Sometimes they get benched to start the year for the experienced veteran. That never lasts. They thought the Dolphins were trying to say Tua would sit almost the entirety of 2020, and he was in before halfway through the season. So sooner or later, Fields is going to be the starter.
Yeah, and it was the same thing with the Chargers. Obviously, the Chargers was kind of an unfortunate situation where we figured Herbert would get in eventually, and then he got in when no one was expecting him to, and then he kind of took it over. So I agree. Maybe at some point he's not the starter, but I don't think there's a point in setting him.
All right, guys. So final pick before the Chargers go right here.
I'm gonna go Slater.
Same. I think Slater makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Slater as well. We got a question from Short Round. We're gonna hold off on that until the pick is made, and then we can talk about his question as well. Let's see what we got here. Nick Reek, definitely botching that. Who's going to be the next wide receiver picked? So this is something we kind of talked about. We knew who the top 3 would be. What do you think is going to be the next wide receiver off the board, guys?
I'm going to say Bateman. I think he's my favorite of the guys that's still remaining. I believe I had him at 4 on my board of wide receivers. So I'll say Bateman.
I'm going to say Bateman or Elijah Moore.
Yeah, Bateman seems like the easy pick. I mocked him at 19 to the Washington football team if they don't move up. So that's my guess is Bateman.
Yeah, I think Bateman as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if someone really likes like Elijah Moore or someone like that. But I think Bateman seems like the easy bet. Also, it seems like this Chargers pick has taken an awfully long time. So
I will say real quick, if it gets into the late 20s and we don't have another wide receiver off the board, I think it is reasonable to see Elijah Moore go over Bateman, just because it seems like there have been a few teams like the Bills and the Packers that have been linked more to Moore. I think the better option is Bateman, but again, it just depends what these teams have. I think those two are almost interchangeable, though.
Great lighting inside of Elijah Vera Tucker's house right now. If you guys see that.
I didn't, so I don't know if it was sarcasm or we actually had.
It's shooting out the window, so legit, everybody looks like a silhouette.
Oh no, Elijah.
Also, Lewis Riddick's offset. So
All right, what are you gonna do, Chargers?
take Slater.
Oh, bro, they took 15 minutes doing that. I could have done that 15 minutes ago for them. And yes, they took Rashawn Slater to double check what was going on there.
Yeah, it feels like a pretty slam dunk pick. Again, this offensive line for the Chargers has a chance to be pretty good. They get the best center in football in Corey Linsley, and now they've got a guy to fill that left tackle spot with Rashawn Slater. Yeah, that's the area that I wasn't thinking about it earlier, but that's probably the area that he slides in, because left tackle is where they're missing right now and where they need the hole filled. I think Slater's going to do that.
Yeah. So really good pick for the Chargers right there, guys. We officially just passed the 3-hour mark. How we holding up over there? How we feeling?
I'm leaving.
Not for you, Brady. You're not the 3-hour mark quite yet, so you don't get to celebrate. Josh,
I think I'm hanging on until I think I'll hang on until 15. Let's get like close to like the halfway point of this first round, and then I think that's when I think I'll probably tap out. But I do want to say, these last couple picks, we've all been a pretty big fan of kind of everything we've got from say 9 or 10 through 13 here, and maybe 14. I think we're seeing some of these not obviously late first round picks, but like not the 1 through 8 or whatever, really benefiting from some of these teams that kind of surprised us from the top 7 or 8 picks. Teams like the Chargers and the Eagles and the Cowboys, maybe it seems like a lot of these teams are benefiting quite a bit from some of the early moves, with Sewell not going where he did and Chase kind of jumping up there a little bit. So I don't know, see if it carries on.
All right, guys. So we're going to go to short rounds question right now. Q&A, if you had to, which professional sport are you getting rid of?
Oh, somebody's asked this before, and my answer without hesitation was NASCAR.
Yeah.
No, not IndyCar, NASCAR.
Okay, fair.
NASCAR, like, no thanks.
NASCAR's there's no point in it.
Agreed.
IndyCar's lit if you've actually been to a race. IndyCar's hype.
IndyCar's great. IndyCar's a great time.
NASCAR's boring. NASCAR is boring. So great.
I'll say golf. One of you said golf.
Did you see the Chargers fan just took off her Chargers necklace with the chain and gave it to Slater? Oh, that's great.
All right, guys. Let's look at see what kind of questions.
Real quickly, guys. I'm a jump off. I gotta catch a flight in the morning. And apparently, some reports now is that the Cowboys won't be picking up Leighton Vander Esch's 5th-year option. So he'll be at a contract year. So I'll ask him about that when I see him this weekend, I guess.
Well, that makes the Micah Parsons pick that much make that much
the
more
reason
sense.
they're not.
Yep.
Oh, there's a trade, boys.
There's a trade.
Hang
on. Traded their pick to the Jets.
What?
Interesting.
this has got to be offensive line, right?
It has to be.
Mac
It's gotta
Jones
be
for
ABT.
quarterback battle.
Yeah,
Well,
it's got to be Vera Tucker right here.
So this has to mean that the Vikings are moving down all the way to 23, which is what the Seahawks pick originally was, but the Jets held it because of the Jamal Adams trade. But that feels like a long way for the Vikings to slide down. Maybe they feel like they don't have an immediate need, but yeah.
Well,
I think their need is offensive line.
No, the Jets, yes, but the Vikings.
I think the Vikings would benefit from offensive line too.
Right. Well, I agree, which is why I'm surprised they wanted to move down 10 spots is all.
I'm pretty sure last year I had Vikings taking O-line in the first round and they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But this makes perfect sense now because what we had talked about before, Blake and again we talked about this last week and we explained this was after only a few, or we talked about this 2 days ago. Originally, Blake and I had thought, what if the Jags have like a halfway decent season, or Minshew looks okay? Like, is it worth, or not even the Jags, but the Jets too? Like, what if one of those teams just sticks it out with their quarterback and takes Penei Sewell? And again, this was very, very early. This is an opportunity. Obviously, we don't know what they're giving up yet. Brady's on that for us, Brady Schefter, but like, this is their opportunity to get the guy who they think is going to be their next franchise quarterback and an offensive lineman within the first 14 picks of the draft. Oh, look at Brady. He's got the 2 phones. I got 2 phones.
He's still pulling a Schefter on us. Way to go, Brady.
But here's their opportunity to get their quarterback and their lineman in the top 14 picks of the draft. I think this has to be Vera Tucker.
Yeah, either Vera Tucker or Darrisaw, I would say. But it seems like, Vera Tucker would be the smart pick. Adam Schefter, do you have any insight yet onto what the trade was yet, what the picks being exchanged are? Because if the Jets are moving up 9 spots, that's got to be a somewhat not hefty package.
I've got nothing yet.
Oh, come on, Shefty, come on.
I'm doing my best. And on that note, as once the Jets pick is announced, I'm hopping off. I'm getting off for the night.
All right. I was going to say, I mean, we can go till 15. I don't mind watching one more to see the Cardinals pick just because it's the NFC West. But yeah, and then that's half the draft exactly, which is probably where I'm at. But
I'll go through 16.
Yeah, I think 16 is a good stopping point.
I'll hit him, Sean, just because I would like to hear his thoughts on who they pick, but because they're at 19. So I was going to suggest either holding it out until 19 since we are just a few away, or I can get him on prior to that just to hear who he wants if it's not going to be Mac Jones. So I'll let you guys decide on that because I got no problem going. I got no problem taking this until the 7th round, boys. But Josh and Lyle, again, if you guys want to go to 19 to see who Washington takes, we can hear Sean's thoughts. Or if you want to wrap it up before then, but I would like to get Sean on to hear his thoughts. Hopefully we can hear his thoughts and he has improved audio because that was definitely what he was.
There is a chance that our show is going to outlast the Dodgers game tonight, Blake.
Oh, dog. The Dodgers are in prime form tonight.
Yes, I know.
They are through 8 innings, they are 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, and Mookie getting on to lead off the inning, which would be huge for the offense in the top of the 8th inning. Looks like it's going to be huge until Corey Seager grounds out into a double play on the first pitch.
Oh, bro, you know that's what Seager does.
Also, Clevenger's about to pitch again after.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yesterday.
I'm sorry. Are we slandering Corey Seager? Because you guys can give him up. That's fine.
Oh yes.
No. Yeah, here.
No, we are slandering him.
We'll take Kyle.
For Corey? Oh,
No. More. But like, I want Kyle involved.
Oh. Wow.
I want your picks.
Yeah.
I want all of them.
I want my picks back.
Jeffy, do we have any insight yet on what the trade was? That's okay.
Nothing yet.
Well, it says the picks in, so at least there's that.
Yeah.
Let me come back since I'm at 33%. That should hold me over for a bit.
Yeah, this is just interesting with the Jets just because I figured they wanted to try and save some picks, but they must feel like there's somebody that they really like.
Yeah. Well, again, it has to be offensive lineman, considering if Devontae Smith was still sitting here, I'd say maybe Devontae Smith, because then you get Zach Wilson, a really nice weapon. But I don't think you go with any of those wide receivers here at pick 14. So, it would make sense. And then, of course, you got the Patriots 1 pick away, literally from not having to move to get Mac Jones, who will be the next Tom Brady, because, of course.
You see anything yet, BK?
Nothing yet.
Oh. Sorry, boys. I was just handed this delicious-looking dinner from MJ.
What
Let's
is
just
it?
take a quick look. What do we got here? We got brisket sliders. We got some sort of potatoes. And we got green beans. Gosh, this looks like the dinner I was cooking on a nightly basis in Tempe.
So spoiled.
I know. Where's
So
Peely?
spoiled.
All right, can it just hurry up? All right, let me text Sean real quick.
Somebody just commented, I want Betts back. I'm guessing that's a Red Sox fan. I want Turg93 to know that I went to Okay, I will wait. It's got to be AVT.
Yeah.
There you go. So Elijah Vera Tucker from USC. I mean, this was for me. This seemed almost too obvious if they're trading into this. That is so incredibly loud.
Sorry.
So, well, I just muted Blake. I found the Jets Vikings trade information.
I think Jones just got drafted. By the way,
I was about to say that. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
smiling on the phone. That makes too much sense with New England. But
Yeah, it does. The Jets trade number 14 and number 143 for 23, 66, and 86.
So that's
say that one more time, Brady.
Are those 2/3?
66 and 86. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think those are 2/3.
Wait, so the trade is all the Vikings got back was a second and a third.
14 and 143 for 23, 66, and 86.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. And again, the Jets have a third rounder to spare because again, in Jamal Adams trade, they got a third round pick from the Seahawks too. So, yeah, I guess that makes a lot of sense. If they really like Elijah Vera Tucker, that makes sense that they want to trade up to get an offensive lineman to protect Wilson. And now, guys, it feels like this Jets offensive line all of a sudden has some real promise because Mekhi Becton was good last year, and now you put Elijah Vera Tucker up. Yeah, now you put Elijah Vera Tucker up there. It feels like all of a sudden they're getting their quarterback some protection.
Yeah, so that's a great pick by the Jets. So as everyone's, I guess they showed Mac Jones. I must have missed it, but this seems like the easy slam dunk pick here for the Patriots. We are going to have our buddy Sean hop on. Who is a Washington fan. He's been wanting them to trade up to get Justin Fields or maybe a quarterback, but it looks like I don't know what's happening right now because it says the Jets just took Mac Jones, so I guess there's a glitch in the system.
Yeah, the graphics.
Imagine that screen. Imagine taking that screenshot and seeing that like at 3 p.m. today.
Oh, you know somebody's going to tweet that out that just happened. Somebody's going to meme it on Twitter.
What's up? Oh, he knows. So, again, we have our buddy Sean coming on. He wanted a quarterback. He wanted them to get one of these guys. But I guess for Washington, they didn't want to trade up. Again, anything can happen, but I think we can all assume that New England's going to get their guy here. So Mac Jones, he goes 15 overall, assuming so. And the pick's already in, so I guess the Patriots really didn't waste any time. So, guys, can we all agree that it's going to be Mac Jones here at 15?
Considering it popped up and so the Jets took him, yes, I can.
Yes.
I think it has to be.
Boys, on that.
Just one more time for good measure.
He is about to pick, though.
Stay out of my stream, Blake.
Our jingle beat theirs.
Don Cox is behind me, a former Marine, saw a need in his community, started providing.
And now I'm interested to see. I mean, so many people said that Brady was a system quarterback. If this is about to be Mac Jones with Bill Belichick, I mean, clearly I think Brady's proven that stereotype wrong. So
yeah, I have.
Good for you, buddy. Brady's the best ever, hands down.
All right, here we go.
World champion New England Patriots.
He's
There
just
it
used
is.
to saying Mac Jones.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, he's-
there it is. No surprise.
He's hauling ass to the stage. He's like, I'm ready.
He's like, all the Bama guys have gotten their time in the limelight. Like, I want to get up there. I thought I was going at 3.
Right. He's like, give me this hat. He's
So
moving.
he just grabbed it right off the podium. Look at that.
Oh, is he going to pull some like, oh, I have implemented in my mind all 14 teams that passed up on me, and they're going to pay like, I guess 13 teams since the Jets picked twice.
Dude, I'm going to be honest. If I'm Mac Jones walking out there, I'm thinking, all right, so yeah, I didn't go like second or third or fourth or whatever, but I went to the Patriots. Like, that's still kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he's happy with where he's landed. Also, did he like just tell Roger Goodell a joke? He whispered something in Goodell's ear, and Goodell like shoved him and laughed. That was like, I haven't seen that before.
I really hope that N'Keal Harry is able to progress into what we're used to seeing him in college, because I feel like a weapon like N'Keal Harry is something similar that Mac Jones had at Alabama. So let's just hope N'Keal can progress to the talent we actually know he has.
Well,
And as Sean joins, I'm leaving.
bye,
Oh,
Brady.
wow.
We love you, Brady. Bye.
Bye, guys. Sean, you can take over my spot if you want.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye, guys.
All right, so we lose Brady for the night. We welcome our buddy Sean, who is a Washington football team fan. He wanted a quarterback. It seemed smart for Washington to go quarterback because they got Ryan Fitzmagic for this year, but obviously moving forward, he's not the answer. Sean, there was hope. You guys could have traded up to get Justin Fields. You guys could have traded up to get Mac Jones. I guess. Oh, there it is. Is that proper number 12?
No, this is the strongest whiskey I have in my house.
Well, you're going to need it. So I guess just
we got about half a bottle to go, and I guarantee you by the time the Bucks are on the clock, it's going to be empty.
Also, real quick, can we talk about this? Someone
is
said
that-
this is destiny.
That's Warren Sharp's tweet, isn't it?
No.
I think.
Tom Fornelli.
Oh, or him too.
You see
I
it,
think.
That's great.
God, all right. So Sean, you guys don't get a quarterback. How do you feel?
Yeah, I apologize for earlier. I don't know why. I guess my computer was having problems. So what I was saying pretty much earlier when I guess my mic cut out was that the one team I was scared about the most when it came to picking a quarterback and swooping in if one of the guys fell, whether it be Lance or Fields, was the Bears, because it's like, you know, the old saying goes, you don't ever want to fight an animal that's cornered. Well, the Bears have a very cornered front office right now, and like Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, they made that trade because it's either, you know, it doesn't affect them either way. Either it's a home run trade, which it probably will be, and they get to keep their jobs, or if it doesn't work out this year, they get fired, and that's not their picks to worry about in the future anyway. So that was always my concern. It definitely is frustrating to see what I ended up giving up for that pick, because I wanted to just give up a third in the future, or a third this year that Washington acquired from San Francisco in the Trent Williams trade, plus next year's first in 19. And I would have been more than happy to add another mid-round pick like they did with the 4 and a 5 for that trade. So I think it's an absolute fleece. Kind of curious what the Giants are thinking there. I guess it's because Devontae Smith is now off the board. They don't really have any receivers there. So it'll be interesting to see what direction they go. But, man, this hurts. I'm going to be honest. I'm flat out upset that they didn't make that play, because I have the firm belief that, you know, Trey Lance obviously has the potential to be one of the top, if not the top quarterback in this class, just potential wise. But if you ask me if the guys who you put out on the field this upcoming season, I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft class. I put Trevor Lawrence at 1 and him at 2. I think Zach Wilson is a good quarterback, but I mean, I don't think that he has everything that Justin Fields was able to prove at his time at Ohio State the last several years.
I think that welcome to the show, because that's kind of what the theme has been on the show for the last couple weeks, is that Fields might not go as the second quarterback off the board, but he seemed to be the number 2 QB on all of our boards.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm a little bit surprised he fell as far as he did.
It was a missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah. So wait. Oh no. Hold on.
Wow.
Oh,
I mean,
that is high
that
for
was a
Zaven
little-
Collins.
To be fair, that was actually a connection that's been made throughout some of the last week. The Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury have apparently been high on Collins throughout the entire process. And I mean, I'm happy because now at this point, right, it comes down to 2 positions for Washington. It's either left tackle or linebacker. There's still Darrisaw's on the board. He would be my 1A. 1B is JOK out of Notre Dame. Lyle and I had a great conversation over text a couple of days ago about how excited I would be to grab a player like him. I'm surprised that he went after Collins, to be honest, but I guess Kingsbury liked this guy and took him.
Well, so here's why I'm a little surprised, and that makes sense. I mean, if the reports are that Kingsbury and the Cardinals like Zaven Collins, then by all means. The only thing is, he's pretty similar to Isaiah Simmons, and it felt like they struggled to really utilize Simmons last year, and now they're taking another guy that plays very similar. So maybe they figure they want more versatility in their defense and more guys that can do multiple things, but I don't know. Cliff Kingsbury doesn't have the world's greatest track record with defense, as we know.
That's fair. I guess you get a versatile guy that can play linebacker or the back end. And now you get a versatile guy that can play linebacker or the front 4. So
I'm interested to hear who did the 2 of you have, Blake and Lyle. Who did you guys have on your board going here?
I don't remember exactly who it was, but I know I had a cornerback.
Yeah, I think I had
Farley, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I had Farley too. Although those injuries, those back injuries, seem to be killing him, as evident from what we've watched tonight, because he's still on the board.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had defense too. I thought their 2 biggest defensive issues were corner or defensive line, specifically on the edge. So I believe this is where I had Rousseau going, rather than maybe reaching for Newsome. Or somebody else in the secondary. But this is where I had Rousseau going. And I really like what Lyle pointed out. This seems like a pretty good comp would be Simmons at this point. And they kind of just took another similar player who they didn't really get going last year. So it's interesting. I mean, I think it's a good pick. I've said a couple times that I'm pretty high on Zaven Collins. And the fact that he was a second linebacker off the board, I think is reasonable. But yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go somewhere else with it.
So yeah, Zaven Collins, I'll be honest, I didn't think he was going to end up in the first round because he's been slipping a lot recently. It is an interesting selection. So we got the Raiders at 17 now. I did a lot of write-ups. Sorry, my Slack's going nuts right now. I did a lot of write-ups for Raider pick on who they could go here. So I think the Raiders, if you're them, they've lost essentially their entire offensive line this offseason. Which one did you pick up the Seahawks from the Raiders? I know they picked up one of them. I can't remember.
Yeah, Gabe Jackson. He's an offensive guard. He's probably going to play right guard to get Russell some help, or left or right guard. And then Rodney Hudson, who is arguably their best lineman, he went to the Cardinals. So
yeah, so you would think the Raiders go there. Hopefully they go with either Darrisaw or Tevin Jenkins, because I have write-ups ready to go on them. But this is the Raiders, meaning they are going to take someone who's probably ranked 80th on a lot of boards, but they think is a really good pick. So, guys, for the Raiders here, I think I have a massive audio thing right there. What direction do you think the Raiders can go in your pick number 17?
No, I don't even know. I'm intrigued to see what this is, just because John Gruden has made some intriguing picks over the last couple of years, to say the least. So, like you said, Blake, he could pull off the 93rd guy on everybody's big board and put him in the first round here. I think I had Jalen Phillips in my mock with this pick. I think an edge rusher would make some sense for Vegas. We haven't heard much about him tonight, so we'll see if some of these edge rushers start to go off the board now, because we still have not seen one edge rusher off the board.
What about Kwity Paye? I mean, like
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy who I'm going to be honest. Like, I think he could be the best edge rusher in this class. So, like, the fact that we're now, halfway through the draft and a year after you have Chase Young and just, year after year after year, there's been some perennial pass rusher to go in the first round in the first 5 or 10 picks. To be, now at 17 and not a single defensive lineman is off the board, whether it be on the edge or inside, is pretty insane.
It seems like nobody can agree on who the top edge rusher in this draft is.
I mean, this is the weakest class I can possibly remember in terms of the defensive front, which is why maybe, if you're Arizona, David Collins fits that mold. If he can stay at 270 pounds or higher, like if you get him in an NFL weight room, like it'd be interesting to see again the versatility that they can use him in. Because if you have pretty much a defensive and a 3-4 outside linebacker or 4-3 defensive end who can put his hand in the dirt or drop back in coverage, that's pretty much like the other side of the coin to what Isaiah Simmons is, where he can go back in the deep third of the field. You now have somebody who can really rush the passer.
Right. So, and apparently the pick's just in, and it's someone that I didn't do a write-up on. So, guys, I'm going to quickly turn my thing off so I can go do this article, and I'm going to let you guys talk about this. And I will say this is a reach.
Okay, so I guess just so we know, I know we were kind of fuzzy on when we were going to stop. Are we just going to go through pick 19 after Washington picks?
I said after Washington, so we can get Sean's, and then we'll go from there. I will say
my pick is
MJ can watch my food. I have to go right.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear Gruden announce or to hear Goodell announce this, because again, Gruden always reaches, and Blake just said this is a reach.
I think
it's not as much of a reach as last year, but it's a reach.
I think it's Davis out of Kentucky.
See, that could be interesting too.
Wow! Wow!
All right, that's not as crazy as I thought it might be.
Really?
Over Darisaw, that's a reach.
Really?
Yeah, it is.
That's one that we all kind of talked about this too. Lyle had Dickerson higher.
Yeah, I did.
So yeah. And that was a guy who dealt with some injuries. Leatherwood was a guy that I did not have in my first round. But
I didn't either.
Was pushing
it
first round.
depends on where they use him. If you kick him out to the right side and keep him at tackle, then it's worth the pick. I don't think he's a left tackle in the NFL personally. But again, yeah, if you're talking about moving him inside to guard, even I don't know if that's like Tevin Jenkins is a mammoth of a human being, and I would just take the raw potential at that point. Than Alex Leatherwood, but yeah, that's a reach. That's more of a reach than I thought it was. Because Davis has been kind of all over the draft boards in terms of the linebacking position, but like Josh said, I didn't really expect Leatherwood to be in the teens. I thought he would be higher 20s towards 30 at the highest.
I wonder what the record is for longest amount of time without an edge rusher off the board, because again, there still has not been one.
I'm sure. That's a good point. I mean, I can't think of a draft within the last 5-10 years.
Okay, let's talk about 18. I think I had the Dolphins mocked. I think I mocked the Dolphins taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah here. I thought another route they might go with the way the top 5 played out tonight was they might go Sewell at 6 and Bateman at 18, but because they took Waddle at 6, they probably don't go another receiver here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go here. I think somewhere on defense is likely, and somewhere in their front 7.
I think this is where you could see an edge rusher go off the board for the first time.
I'm going to be honest. I think this might be the anti-Lyle pick.
No.
You think they go running back this high? I figured they'd wait till the second round and get Javonte Williams or someone.
I would be very surprised if they go running back.
It depends on how high of a grade they have on either Harris or ETN, right? Like, I mean, because like that's the thing is if you don't think there's that much of a drop off, then yes, absolutely wait for the second round, get better value. But like, if you want if you truly have Harris as, despite the positional value being lower than any, other position in the sport, if you have them rated as the highest grade in that position group and as a person that you can plug in and play and be a potential Pro Bowler week one, that potentially justifies the pick, having 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, that's fair. Although they might go Darisaw here because he's still on the board.
Absolutely. I mean, you need some protection for Tua. Again, they got 3 from the Tunsil trade. They don't have a left tackle solidified.
Right.
You can get all of this draft capital from Tunsil, the way that they've moved all of those picks around and still land somebody like Darisaw. That's makes the front office of the Miami Dolphins look like geniuses. I'm hoping it's not Darisaw because that's who I'm hoping will go next at 19. We'll see.
Is that your 1-1 guy?
That's my 1-1 guy on the board right now. Yes.
Okay. Well, we're about to find out. Blake isn't going to play the bell because he's away from keyboard.
You can
but
do
Goodell,
it yourself. Do it.
Oh, I don't know how. Hang on.
No. You just do it. No, do it. Go. You blew it.
Oh, okay. So they took Jalen Phillips at 18, which is 1 spot below where I mocked him, which was 17 to the Raiders. And yeah, did you get this right on the money, Josh?
Bang!
Wow. All right. Hat tip.
This is what here. And you know what? My analysis for this pick, I feel like is spot on. Actually, I said, and I quote, "He could go higher, he could go lower, but they need a pass rusher, so stick with a Miami Hurricane." I feel like that's pretty fair.
It is.
I still can't believe that this is, the first edge rusher or defensive lineman off the board. Like 18 picks is a long
and that's something that we talked about too. And again, like Sean and I just touched on this a couple minutes ago. You saying it might be a deep class, but it's not like the best in a really long time. And yeah, it's been a while. And also I love that they are showing UCLA Jalen Phillips highlights. What a huge miss for UCLA to not keep this guy playing in LA, but that's brutal. Anyway, this is something that we talked. What'd you say?
I was gonna say you should have seen my reaction when 7 minutes into the draft they were showing Dwayne Haskins comps for Trevor Lawrence.
Yes. Josh, how much does that make you smile ear to ear seeing those UCLA?
I just think it's so great because I don't remember what class would that have been. That would have been the 2018 or the 2017 class. And whatever he came in with, it was like he was the big recruit, and oh god, who was the other one that was coming in for SC? It was like 1 and 2. And coming into Southern California. It was like, all right, well, you're either the SC guy or you're the UCLA guy. That's who you like. And Phillips was like the talk of the town for a little while. And yeah, no, I mean, he's fantastic. He's really good at UCLA, but it just didn't pan out and he didn't want to be there. Also, Blake, can you mute yourself? We can hear you typing.
That's not me. I've been on mute this whole time.
Yeah,
so something with someone's audio.
Oh, interesting. It sounds like typing. But anyway, this is something we were talking about a little while ago. Was when it came down to the defensive ends, when we were doing our mock drafts, we all said, who knows who's gonna be, like, don't know when they're gonna go. Like, I had Rousseau going at 16 to the Cardinals, and he was the first off my board, and then everyone else's was different. Like, we all were so different with our edge rushers.
He is so interesting, Rousseau, because I mean, upside, he's the best guy in this class, but between opting out and I guess the weight he added on. Obviously, everybody has their questions because he's sliding down boards. I mean, 6 months ago, this guy was in everybody's top 10. Now, I mean, we'll see how far he slides. But
yeah, I mean, definitely, he could end up being a Montez Sweat type of player. Obviously, a different situation in terms of why they slid, but getting somebody of that value who is expected to be a much higher rated player than what you're getting at that back half of the first round, I definitely think Miami's got to be happy with what they landed. In terms of 19, again, 3 positions of need that come off, the top of the head outside of quarterback as the pick's now in is offensive left tackle or linebacker, particularly, whether it be inside or outside, and then wide receiver. So if you're going tackle, I think Darisaw's the guy left on the board at this point. Local guy, there was an injury concern that came up within the last week about something that came up in a physical that some teams were scared off by, but again, that doesn't really concern me as much. Washington, when you think about the last 20 years, they've only had 2 left tackles in their franchise history, which has been crazy for a team that has had so much turnover at every other position and level of the organization. Their left tackle spot's been pretty solid with Trent Williams and Chris Samuel before that. So we'll see if that's the pick. If they go linebacker again, I'm thinking JOK out of Notre Dame is the pick. And if you go receiver, I think Bateman's easily the top guy left on the board. I mean, you can make the case for Kadarius Toney, but I think Bateman fits more of what they would want out of a bigger body receiver now that they have a speed threats on the outside with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel.
Yeah,
So, Sean,
I was going to say let's just quickly go around because I know I mocked Bateman here at 19. I can't remember what you guys had. Clearly, Sean wants either Darrisaw, JOK, or at least those are his top 2 guys. But who did you guys have mocked here?
So originally, Sean's gonna like this. I changed mine. I gave Trey Lance the Lyle Goldstein Justin Herbert treatment. So I had Lance falling down to 19. Believe it or not.
That would have been great.
Well, obviously that did not happen. He went 3rd. But originally I had Zaven Collins slotted in at 19. And then switched them. I literally swapped where I had him. So I originally had a linebacker going here. I could see Owusu Koromoa going here. But I'll say for the sake of this, I had quarterback on my final mock. But for the sake of where we're at in the draft, I'm going to say that I had linebacker.
Well, you guys remember mine. I had them trading up to number 4 to get Justin Fields, so that explains mine. Also, I will say this real quickly. I love the Jalen Phillips. I had it muted. Also, I don't know what that typing sound effect is. I had it muted halfway, but I tuned in right at the end because I had to get up the Alex Leatherwood post for the Raiders site. I think the Jalen Phillips move is a fantastic move for the Dolphins. And I think I heard it at the tail end also Lyle saying, yeah, UCLA, you're probably sitting back going, what in the world happened? Also, hold on.
Blake's gone.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, Josh, it's Jamon or Jarman Davis.
This is a good pick. I like this pick actually.
Yeah. So Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky, at 19 to the football team.
Okay. So
it looks like Sean
never gets to the football team, but yeah, I don't know what's going on.
It looks like your connection's a little laggy, but that's all good. Let me just try this real quick. I'll mute Sean real quick. All right, guys, let's see here. Yeah, he looks like he left. All right, guys, let's do a quick little round table because I think we are going to be wrapping things up shortly. I don't know if we'll get Sean back, but interesting pick there by Washington. The Giants are on the clock. So before we wrap things up, major shout out to everyone that's tuned in. I don't know how many people have stayed around since we started this over 3.5 hours ago. It's been an absolute journey. Maybe we wouldn't make it to the end of the first round because we still literally got 12 more picks. That's going to take a long time. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in so far. Sean, we'll get your quick reaction. Do you like the pick? Do you not like the pick? What your quick takeaway before we wrap up the show?
I would have liked to see him go tackle, but I think the tackle depth in this class is so deep that you can still address it in the second round. Davis showed a lot this past year at Kentucky, so it'll remain to be seen if he's a one-hit wonder or if he's a guy who can really play sideline to sideline and kind of be, if you want to make a comparison to what Ron Rivera had in Carolina, he definitely wants somebody like a Luke Kuechly to man and command that middle level of their defense. And they're a linebacker away from becoming a top 2 defense in the NFL, and maybe this is the guy who ends up making that step for him.
All right, guys. So we're going to round this out also to answer Andrew's question. Sadly, only 2. The super chats were coming in hot. And then the second I said, oh, by the way, I'll take a shot for every super chat we get, people just said, oh, we don't want Blake to get black tonight, so we'll just stop donating the money. So only two, Andrew. But we were enjoying the mixed drink. We were enjoying the mixed drink all night. All right, guys, biggest takeaway from the NFL draft tonight. Again, we're only at pick 20, but what was just your biggest takeaway from tonight?
The irresponsibility, as Cole Topham put it, of the Cincinnati Bengals. I think Jamar Chase is going to be an unbelievable NFL player. I think he's a great talent. I think that connection with Joe Burrow is going to be great. But again, you had so many hits with Joe Burrow last year. He was on pace to take more hits than any other quarterback in NFL history. And they did not take the best offensive line prospect in 20 years, given the opportunity. So again, it's a fine pick. Jamar Chase can be a great NFL player. But you had a chance to take the best offensive lineman and somebody who Lyle said could literally, I mean, this is a lofty projection, but if you could attach a Hall of Fame caliber like honor to any player in this draft, it would be Penei Sewell. And the Cincinnati Bengals did not take him to protect their new franchise quarterback who suffered a season-ending injury last season with multiple fractures and breaks in one leg. That is irresponsible, as Cole put it, and that's the best way to put it. And that's my biggest takeaway up to this point. Also, I correctly picked number 18 on the dot. I feel like that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I missed the previous 4, but 18 is where we're talking.
Yeah, I think mine are how far both Justin Fields and Mac Jones fell, just because I thought there was a chance to see 5 quarterbacks in the top 5, 6, 7 with how all the rumors were flying around for a few weeks. So it's either that or, again, J.C. Horn going at 8 and then Surtain going at 9. I think we all thought Surtain at 10 to the Cowboys was a slam dunk. 2 corners in a row go 8 and 9 a little earlier than we expected, especially Horn. Not to say he's not worthy of the pick, but I don't think any of us expected that heading into tonight, and that was one of the surprises of the draft.
I'll let you take it, Sean, as I'll wrap
If
it
you
up.
ask me what mine is, I think Justin Fields is going to be this year's Lamar Jackson. I think a lot of teams are going to regret letting him slide as far as they did. And yeah, I can't believe that he slid as far as he did, and good for the Bears to pick him up.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, the two that stand out are one, Justin Fields falling to the Bears, the fact that he fell to 11, the fact that the Bears traded up, the fact that no other team, and who knows, maybe teams were making offers, maybe they weren't, but again, there were some teams I thought for sure come 11, they would have been trading up. And again, the Bengals, you can make the case Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in this class. He's probably going to be a really good wide receiver moving forward, but we need to protect Joe Burrow, all those stats we've said all night. Penei Sewell, I think Lyle's the one that said it earlier. He has probably the best chance of this entire draft class to be a Hall of Famer. I'm really high on him. And I think it was irresponsible to, again, not protect your quarterback. Now, granted, there are still some really solid players, so maybe the Bengals, they trade up and they get a guy like Darisaw. Maybe they trade up and get a guy like Tevin Jenkins, so it won't be a total loss. It'll make the pick a little bit better. But overall, yeah, I was shocked. So who knows? Still lots to go away. But again, we've been doing this for 3 hours and 45 minutes. We knew we wouldn't get it all the way because this draft is probably going to go to the 5-hour mark, and there's only so much we can take. So, guys, before we head out for the night, for the week, any parting words, anything you would like to see in the rest of the first round? And I guess for Lyle and Josh, anything you'd like to see your teams take in the second or third round, assuming they don't keep trading back?
I don't know. The last couple of years, I've been pretty adamant about what I wanted to see the LA Rams do. This year, I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of just sitting back. And again, they keep trading away their first round picks. They've traded away their future a couple times now to either get Goff, to get rid of Goff, to get Jalen Ramsey. And, the latter two, I'm fine with. So I'm kind of sitting back with the Rams. I'm eager to see what they're going to do. They obviously did lose a few pieces on defense this year. They lost Gerald Everett on offense. I'm not super concerned with a lot of the pieces they've missed. They've let go because I think they'll be able to replace them in the draft. So first time in a while, I'm kind of sitting back, not worrying about what the Rams are going to do in the second and third and fourth rounds. 2 years ago, I was screaming at my TV to take a lineman, and they did not take. We're still doing this at 20.
We had to get one final win in there, dog. You know it had to be done. In fact, we'll get a second one.
All right.
Oh, well, that answers our question from earlier about the next wide receiver taken in this draft.
Wow.
You're all wrong.
How about that?
So it's Kadarius Toney, not
Oh, the Giants fans are not happy.
oh boy.
No,
So
I think Bateman's the guy that they should have.
that's a perfect pick to wrap this night up on. Also, sorry, Sean, I had you muted because again, it sounds like you're typing, but there's something going on in regards to your audio. So again, thank you to everyone that has stuck it out. I don't know how many people have been here for all 3 hours and 45 minutes, but we appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. We didn't get as black as we would have liked, but that's okay because this was fun. Just interacting with you guys, getting people on the show, having some guests, reading all of your guys' comments. And again, the draft night's the best night. We still got, again, 11 more picks to go the rest of the night. And we got 2 more full days of it going forward. So this was a lot of fun. I'll throw it to Josh and Lyle since they are members of the show while Sean sits there and questions why the Giants just went with Kadarius Toney. Guys, any parting words for the week before we return potentially next week for a NFL draft recap show?
Yeah, just the housekeeping. Follow the show on Twitter, and share the links if you want. Check out Drew Carter at Droodle25 and Cole Topham at Ham Analysis. Thanks for joining the show. A lot of good insights from Cole and a lot of hot takes from Drew tonight. So those two guys are really good on Twitter. So shoot them a follow.
Yeah, I'll reiterate all of what you just said. And also, we tried to get to as many questions that we could that you guys had tonight. Hopefully we answered a good amount of them. But if we didn't answer your question, just come back on Tuesday and give us all the questions you want. And let me one-up you. Send it on Twitter. Because like we always say, you send it on Twitter, we promise we'll answer it. So interact with us over there. And, yeah, I'm sure we're going to have a jam-packed show Tuesday, too, because there's still going to be a lot to unpack. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and keep sending us your questions throughout the week because we'll be happy to answer them come Tuesday night.
And thanks for joining the comment section and donating too.
Yeah. So again, we would have. I mean, like I said, this has been draining 3 hours 45 minutes. I would have liked to go the whole round, but I don't think I can make it.
Dude, I already made a cup of coffee. So
this was a lot of fun. So thanks to everyone that tuned in. Thanks for everyone that donated. We really appreciate it. Again, next week we're going to be doing an NFL draft recap, going over just everything from the draft. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks to our man Sean for taking over for Brady, who had to go to bed early for his busy flight tomorrow. So we appreciate Sean hopping on. It's a shame his audio sounds like he was out of the 1910s or something like that. Oh, we just lost Sean. I was going to keep him on for when we ended the show, but that's okay. So, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Next week, we're going to have an NFL draft recap. This was a lot of fun. Also, look at us all wearing the exact same shirts. Aren't we cute?
Yes.
For Josh,
give the Twitter account again. Give the Twitter
at the HH Show _. If you haven't followed us already, make sure you do so. It's an absolute must. Stay tuned for all that kind of stuff. For Josh Schaefer, Lyle Goldstein, this has been Blake Harris from the Chateau in beautiful Monrovia, California. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week, and enjoy the draft this weekend. And just remember, Vontae Mack, no matter what.